Things running smoothly for 35E northbound as you come up out of downtown St. Paul towards 694. 694 flowing nicely from that 35E, heading out toward Highway 252. 10 westbound looking good. 35W into Anoka. 169 northbound flowing nicely. Highway 62 to I-94. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It stays mild enough that we have more chances of rain than snow. Rain showers mainly across southern Minnesota tonight, falling back to 34. Mostly cloudy with rain showers more widespread, mainly in the evening tomorrow after a high of 48. There is a chance of light snow mainly in northern Minnesota on Wednesday. We could see some flurries late.
Cloudy right now, 50 degrees. And News Talk 830 WCCO.
Thinking critically never goes out of style. Ignorance, on the other hand, is always a bad look. This is the fashion. News Talk 830 WCCO. Buckle up. Time for the ride home and the chance to get caught up on the day's news. Plus, whatever else he wants to riff on. This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
And here's the star of the show and your host,
Jason DeRusha.
Are you ready? All right.
Now live on your radio and streaming to the world at WCCOradio.com and the Odyssey app. Here's Jason DeRusha.
And we are back in Minnesota. Our timing to return could not have been better. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRusha. It's Jason. Dan is here. We are streaming live on YouTube, on Facebook, both on the WCCO radio account and on X, on the @DeRushaJ account. And please keep your language clean. I think if Senator Tina Smith said what she said on X about Elon Musk on one of our accounts, she might have gotten blocked or filtered out. Senator Tina Smith, who has apparently gone straight up unleashed now that she has announced that she's not running for re-election, referred to, well, I don't even know if I can say what she called Elon Musk on the radio. Dan, am I allowed? I mean, the last time I asked Dan if I was allowed to say something on the radio,
we weren't on the same page.
We were on a
that didn't work out so well.
He said yes and thought I meant something else.
Saying something else.
I don't think I can say that.
Well, what you can say is she called him a Richard.
I think people know.
I think people understand what that means.
She said that Elon was I mean, have I used this word to describe my boss before? Yes, absolutely. This is all about Elon Musk asking federal employees, well, really telling federal employees, what'd you do? Give me 5 things you've done at work last week. And if you don't respond, it'll be taken as a resignation. Now, almost all of this has been walked back by the administration. There still, despite what the Trump administration and Elon Musk think, there is something called human resources. There are certain rights that we have as workers. Although I will say, like, I don't know, man. Like, this company got pulled out of bankruptcy by new leadership. There's a new interim CEO at this company. There'll be a new, and look, the poobahs at Odyssey, the parent company, WCCO Radio, those people, as far as I could tell, didn't give a rip about my show before we were in bankruptcy. I'm not certain why they would give a rip about my show afterwards. But if I got an email asking me what I did last week, I guess I just send links to the show. I don't know. This is what 5 things you did last week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 to 6. That's what I did. That's not what I want to talk about from you guys. It's potty mouth. It's profanity. We say we want our politicians to get real and talk like we do. And the truth is, we as a society have never been more profane. I don't love it. I grew up Catholic. If I said shut up in my house, I would get my mouth washed out with soap. I mean, could you imagine? Like, if I told my kids that I was going to wash their mouth out with a bar of soap, and a neighbor heard it, I'd probably get the cops called on me. But we are more profane today. And so when Senator Tina Smith said this is the ultimate Richard boss move from Musk, except he isn't even the boss, he's just a Richard. Whoa. Does that bother you? 651-461-9226. You can reach out via text. You can reach out via phone call, and you can always leave us a message on the Odyssey voice app. There's a voice microphone right next to where you listen live, and you can click that and send a message directly to us in the studio. Now, I will say this. I wasn't that surprised to hear or to read this kind of language from Senator Tina Smith. And I say that, I know some of you maybe were surprised. I say that I was not that surprised that she called Elon Musk a Richard. Because, well, the last time she was on the morning show with Vanita, I to be honest, I was a little surprised. I was listening at home. It was very, it's early in the morning. I just woke up. I have my cup of coffee. I'm enjoying the morning news with Vanita Sakar right here on WCCO Radio. And she's like, oh, I got Tina Smith. And at first I was mad. I'm like, Cook, how come you didn't get Tina Smith? But take a listen to what this is U.S. Senator Tina Smith said right here on the News Talk 50,000 watt AM traditional radio station here in Minnesota.
Well, good morning, Vanita. It's so good to be with you this morning here from DC. And yes, I'm happy to talk about this that we've been voting on this week in the Senate. And this legislation is sort of a solution to what happened with her, but it is actually not a good solution at all.
Yeah, I mean that was wow, right?
I mean that's strong.
That was in a live interview. I mean, I didn't. I mean, wow. 651-461-9226. I tend to believe that when most people are freaking out about the language of a public official, they're freaking out about the language of a public official that they disagree with. But I don't know. That's why I ask you, 651-461-9226. I don't use profanity, and neither do my two college-age sons, says a 612 texter. Both are athletes and outdoorsmen. I expect better from our politicians. Another texter said, regarding Tina Smith on Musk, I'm never offended by the truth. I mean, it is sort of a Richard move, right? Hi, I'm the new boss. I need you to tell me 5 things that you did last week. I get it. Now, we have had a stretch of these little mini kerfuffles, right? And a lot of texters pointing out Donald Trump's language. And I went back kind of thinking through some of the times that we talked about language in politicians. And Donald Trump, I think, has widely been praised for, by supporters anyway, for telling it like it is. I didn't love it when he said that former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg just has a good line of BS, except he didn't say BS. Now, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, when he was running for vice president, talked about Elon Musk, saying Elon's on that stage jumping around, skipping like a dip. Yeah. I don't know that this type of language, I don't know, man. Like, I would like it to bother me, but it doesn't. Profanity is everywhere. I'm more bothered by, when I'm at a sporting event and I hear people swear with like little kids all around. I don't know if this goes to like, has there been this debasing of society? The fact that we allow profanity to be so commonplace? I don't know. Jason, Tina's become very brave with her language now that she has nothing to lose. Now, that is so interesting. Because in a way, that's almost a bigger indictment of Tina Smith, right? That she didn't have the guts to be this outspoken when she thought maybe she was running for re-election, when she thought she had something to lose. Now, the caveat I always have on these things is, do we think this was Tina Smith? Or like, how workshopped was this post, right? Because I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who is an executive. And she was telling me, like, she's not allowed to post anything. She does not have unfettered access to her own social media. That her staff is like, no, it's got to go through me. Lots of text coming in. I'll share more of your text on Senator Potty Mouth. Maybe you want more of this. Do you want more of this or less of this? I'll share your thoughts, and more welcome in. 651-461-9226 here on Drive Time.
Drive Time with DeRusha is hitting the off-ramp for a quick stop on News Talk 830 WCC.
Hey, it's Jason DeRusha here, and if you are making plans, I know a lot of us have spring break on the mind, but when you're doing kind of a big-time trip, a lot of times you got to plan ahead for the fall. And I would love for you to make your October vacation a trip to Greece with me. It's Jason DeRusha. I am going to Greece with a bunch of CCO listeners. It'd be so much fun to have you as a part of it. October 12th is when we leave. We are discovering iconic Greece with Colette. 3 nights in Athens, 3 nights on the island of Mykonos, 3 more nights on the island of Santorini, and Colette handles it all. They book the flights. They move your luggage around. They take care of most of your meals, your hotels, and they bring local guides to give you experiences that will absolutely blow you away. This will be the 3rd time I've traveled with Colette. We've been to Portugal. We've been to the Rocky Mountains of Canada. Each time was better than the last, and the Colette experience will absolutely floor you. Don't miss your chance, because there's only a couple more weeks to sign up for this thing. WCCOradio.com/Greece. WCCOradio.com/Greece, or you can make a call to Colette, 866-436-6734. Let's go to beautiful Greece, and let's do it with Colette.
You know, we've all gotten unsolicited cash offers for our homes. I get it. It can make moving less stressful. But if you go that route, there's a good chance you'll be leaving money on the table. Hey, it's Vanita. If you're thinking of selling and don't want the stress, call my buddy, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group Coldwell Banker Realty. Corinne just worked with John to sell a loved one's home. She wanted the convenience and she got it. John helped her. His marketing system helped get multiple offers for Corinne's home. All the attention led to her home selling for $30,000 over the asking, $75,000 more than that below market investor cash offer she originally got. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving, johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
Although Barbra Streisand and Frank Sinatra never shared the stage, their musical legacies come together in Barbra and Frank, the concert that never was, starring Sharon Owens and Sebastian Anzaldo. This can't-miss tribute features sensational performances of the powerhouse vocalist's biggest hits, captivating duets, and witty banter. See what could have been become reality at Treasure Island Resort and Casino on Friday, February 28th. Get your tickets at TICasino.com.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Well, the joy of early bedtime. And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
You look like maybe you're about to recite some poetry or sit in a corner with a little glass of wine and pontificate about something.
Yeah.
Yes, very debonair.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
We are talking about Senator Potty Mouth. I don't know, Senator Tina Smith, she always seems so dang nice. And then this weekend, not only did she call Elon Musk a Richard, then she added, I'm on the side of the workers, not the billionaire a-hole bosses. Youch. Is this what we want? Let's go to Carter in Minneapolis at 651-461-9226. Carter, you're on the air. What do you think?
Hey, Jason. My biggest concern with language like this is, we expect diplomacy from our elected officials in government. And when it gets broken down into something like this, well, I can appreciate the sentiment on the basis of just talking to someone who isn't in the government, but I do expect a protocol and a decorum set for people who we elect to run our country.
Yeah, I suppose that's the other issue, right? Where you say this is, in a way, it's pandering, right? Like we hear this and we're like, yeah, that's real talk. I agree with that, or I'm mad and I disagree with it. But it doesn't really get us anywhere towards like having better discussions, better dialogue, better diplomacy, better anything. It doesn't really get us anywhere.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's what I think for sure. It's like diplomacy is a hard skill to learn, but if you are running for office, you should be practicing it.
Yeah. Carter, thank you. Good call. 651-461-9226. It's not so much that I'm against politicians using vulgar language, says a 507 texter. It's more that I want civil debate. Sort of the same thing Carter was getting at, right? Swearing is often used as a weapon to degrade and discredit. Yeah. Now, what I think happens here is that if you are a lefty, you were really mad whenever Donald Trump says anything profane, or when Elon Musk posts these memes all the time with offensive language, offensive themes. If you're a righty, you're like, this is outrageous. This Tina Smith language, like what? I don't. Maybe it's all just performative, right? Like nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. That's sort of like, I will tell you, when I was first thinking about this, Dan, I was ready to come on and be like, this is outrageous. This is the debasing of our society. I would like my children to look up to U.S. Senator. This is the sort of stuff you expect in the House, right? Like, we want the president to be respectable. I do. I know, like, whatever. That ship has sailed, right? And a texter decorum. Look at the president. Like, yep, I didn't vote for the guy. Okay. Now, does it really matter? I find myself much more ambivalent about this than I expected to be, because this is how people talk. If we say that we want our political leaders to be authentic and to be like us instead of being the best version of us, then so what? So what?
Well, I think you hit on exactly the matter right there, right? What do we really want? Do we want them to be authentic and just like us, or do we want them to be some best version of our society and what we want to be? Because it used to be best and the brightest was always the goal. And then somewhere late 90s, early 2000s, it became, no, we want them to be relatable. We want them to be the person we could go have a beer with. And those two things aren't necessarily mutually exclusive, but we are going towards a situation where it's one at the exclusion of the other.
It's a little bit of a theme that you've talked about before, where people want the fight more than anything else.
Exactly.
And a lot of the texts are saying this, right? Like, go Tina, it's comforting to know that someone is pushing back against this scary takeover. A lot of people saying, decorum, look at the president. Like, that's not my point. My point is, and also if you're, now I'm arguing the other way. If your defense of this is that the president is a Richard, like, I'm sorry, you've lost the argument right there.
Exactly.
Because we know, America knew and they voted for him. And so, not everyone, but the majority of the people who came out voted for him. Another texture, if you listen to anything coming out of Trump's month, as soon as Democrats get feisty, it's terrible. So sick of the Republicans can say anything they want. Give me a giant break.
Just such utter nonsense.
What?
Such utter nonsense.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it hasn't been pointed out 1,000 times when the president uses vulgar or disgusting language towards somebody or calls somebody a name that we'd prefer
We've
people
called
not.
We've called it out.
I mean, 1,000 times.
But maybe we shouldn't. What I'm saying now is that maybe it doesn't really matter. I personally am a little disappointed that we've sort of decided that we don't need our politicians to be the best versions of us. We don't need them to be people we can look up to.
I think in general, the electorate doesn't care. I think that's evidenced by the fact
Pretty obvious, right?
who we're voting for and what we're defending, essentially. So, no, I mean, people want it. People want to perform as though it matters. They want to say, oh, no, I want decorum. I want, all of this. But when it comes down to the bottom line, when they're in the voting booth and nobody can know what they're saying or how they really feel, this is what we want.
And I guess my question to the people on the left who are texting in with various examples of the outrageous and disgusting and offensive things that President Donald Trump has said, I guess the question you need to ask yourself is, so you're okay with all that then? Like, is that the argument that, like, I guess I just don't know what the argument is. Is it like, well, Trump is bad, so we should be bad too? Is it that none of this really matters? I think in general, most people who express an opinion on this are full of crap. I think most of you are upset at someone that you just politically disagree with. That's
the bottom line. Is it's okay if our person does it, but if when
now
that
I think
person
Carter, who called in, was saying like he's inclined to agree with what Tina Smith is saying, but like that's a more of an intellectually honest argument that like I don't prefer this for anybody, even from somebody that I agree with. I do think there's more of it. Like we're in this podcast kind of interview era. And there's going to be more of this. If you got Tim Walz up there calling Elon Musk a dip ass word, I don't know. Still, it's shocking to hear that audio you played of Tina Smith before. We're going to break. We're going to come back. You are going to want to stay tuned for this next topic. A Minnesota man's grandmother is killed by a reckless driver who's going 95 miles an hour, I think at a 35 mile an hour zone. Kills her. While he's awaiting trial, he got to keep his driver's license and drive around. It's a loophole in Minnesota law, and this man is trying to change it. We will talk with Matt Whalen in just a minute here on CCO.
More Drive Time with DeRusha is on the way following these messages on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about the most innovative guy in real estate. It is my friend Chris Lindahl. When I say Chris Lindahl, do you feel the desire to just put your arms out and get yourself on a billboard? Or is that just me? Chris Lindahl is a terrific guy. He has helped tens of thousands of Minnesotans sell their home quickly. There's so many times in life where you are just in a situation. Maybe someone has passed away. Maybe somebody needs to move into senior living, or there's a job change or a divorce. Something happens where you need to sell your home right now. Chris Lindahl's guaranteed cash offer is how. I want you to go to chrislindahl.com. chrislindahl.com. That's where you wash your stress away and you pass it off to the Chris Lindahl real estate team. The beauty of the guaranteed cash offer is that you're in control. You pick your closing date. There's no obligation as to whether you take the offer or not. But if you do, you don't have to negotiate. You don't pay commissions. You don't have to do repairs on your house. You don't have to do showings. You just sell your house and move forward with your life. And what is that worth to you? Get your guaranteed cash offer today. Do it at chrislindahl.com.
If there was ever a time to get it off your chest.
I loved what you said, but two things I disagree with.
If there was ever a time to speak up.
I think it is a bit inexcusable.
To speak out.
You know, they're abusing their power. They're playing victim. They act like little children.
To make sure your voice is heard.
They started it.
The time is now.
There's a lot of corruption on both sides.
That's how the world works.
The place is the talk and text line. 651-461-9226. On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Advantage Seamless Gutters is now Advantage Home Pros. New look, same pros. Still locally owned and now taking care of all your gutter and roofing needs. Spring cleanup is just around the corner. Don't spend your weekends on a ladder cleaning your gutters when you could be spending time with family and planning that spring break trip. Trust your local gutter pros, Advantage Home Pros. Now your local custom roofing pros with the highest quality workmanship and materials. Our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros, AdvantageHomePros.com.
We're speaking with UCare's Albert Reed, who has many years of experience helping people with their Medicare decisions. And I know there's a lot of confusion around Medicare, especially for people who are just starting to learn about it. Tell me a little bit about Original Medicare and Medicare supplement plans.
So Original Medicare is comprised of two basic parts. You have Part A, which is hospital coverage, and then Part B is medical coverage. Original Medicare is designed to cover about 80% of your overall medical expenditures. There is no out-of-pocket limit on Original Medicare. However, you are able to use them at any provider nationwide for as long as they accept Original Medicare. And then you have your Medicare supplement plans.
So what exactly is a Medicare supplement plan?
They're designed to help cover the other 20% that Medicare leaves off. Medicare supplement plans will provide a level of predictability instead of thinking about co-pays and constant costs. You pay your monthly premium one time a month, and your medical costs are mostly covered. They do travel with you. You can use them nationwide. They will be accepted anywhere that Original Medicare is accepted. Even if you move, you can retain your plan.
Who could benefit from having a Medicare supplement plan?
Medicare supplement plans are great for folks that may anticipate some medical concerns, folks that want a little bit more safety and not have to worry about co-insurances or deductibles. They want to pay one monthly cost and ensure that their costs are covered for medical. Most other costs are covered under your supplement plan, and there's no Part D coverage included. However, you are able to purchase that separately.
Okay, so what are some benefits of going with UCare?
So UCare does have competitive rates, some of the lowest rates statewide that you can find. Our plans do offer no-cost fitness options and hearing aid discounts. We do have a large dedicated broker network that's willing to take all the time needed to help you find the right plan to secure your long-term health.
Albert Reed from UCare, thank you so much for coming in today. And if you would like to get more information about UCare Medicare plans, contact a local broker and visit ucare.org.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust. No matter what you're up to, give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop in store online. You can find things running smoothly. Traveling north 35E out of St. Paul up to 694. 35W northbound looking good as well from Highway 36 to Highway 10 over on the west side. North 169 moving along easily between 394 and 610. Save on quality mains at Whole Foods Market. Get 20% off. No antibiotics ever. Bone-in beef short ribs with prime through February 25th. Braise until tender in the Dutch oven and serve over steamed rice. While supplies last, shop in store online. Terms apply. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw & Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw & Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather brought to you by Bradshaw & Bryant, keeping and seeking justice for the injured at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. Here's Chris Schaefer.
Definitely feeling more like March than the last week of February. Rain showers south tonight, falling back to 34. Basically a mostly cloudy day tomorrow with a high of 48 with another round of rain coming. This hits in the evening, even here in the Twin Cities. Some light snow mainly up north on Wednesday.
Right now, it is so warm. It's beautiful. It's 51 degrees and pretty sunny on CCO.
Drive time continues on the roads and on your radio. News Talk 830 WCCO.
This next story is going to make you mad. It made me mad when I first heard about it. Matt Whalen is a Minnesota man whose grandmother was, I would say, murdered by an out-of-control, speeding criminal. And what happened next, well, the state law in Minnesota and the criminal justice process, I feel like it victimized this family once again. Matt's with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker hotline, and we appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us today, Matt.
Yeah, I appreciate you for reaching out.
So I first learned about this. Alpha News wrote about it. I also know that State Senator Christian Robbins, state representative, has a big effort to change Minnesota law. Why don't we start at the beginning? Your grandmother, Sandy Wetterland, 2022. What happened?
Yeah, so May 6th of 2022, Grandma was enjoying her day just like any other day. In the afternoon with my wife and our kids over at my in-laws' house, had lunch, and it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She made her way back home, and at the time, Grandpa was in the nursing home next door to where they lived, and unfortunately, making her way there and was struck, T-boned by a driver doing 95 and a 45 on County Road 101 in Plymouth, Minnesota. So we got the call probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon that she didn't make it through that.
Oh my gosh, a moment you never forget. I'm sure.
Yeah, especially in the afternoon.
Yeah.
She spent a lot of time going to the casino, enjoying her life, and she made her way down to Mystic Lake. We don't know how many times, and made it back just fine. So on a Friday afternoon, just not what you're looking for.
Well, yeah, and you sort of prepare, right? As I don't know, we're all in that phase of life where our parents or our grandparents, and you're like, all right, I'm getting mentally prepared for what may come. But when you find out that it was someone going 95 miles an hour, and then on top of it, this guy had 7 excessive speeding violations, a bunch of incidents of driving with a suspended or revoked license. So while he gets charged for this, tell me when you first became aware of the fact that he was legally able to still be driving around.
Well, back to the accident scene and everything that happened there. Her car was hit so hard it traveled about 30 yards, and it went down an embankment and struck a townhouse. So from the where it was hit, it went, I would say, 60 yards in total. There was no brake marks. If you would go to an accident scene, you would typically see a car's brake marks on the ground.
Right.
There was only skid marks from her car being pushed sideways. So, from my perspective, I knew it right away that the guy had been going fast. We later learned that, at the time this all occurred, that it took about 2 weeks to figure out everything that was going on and what they were suspecting had taken place. We learned from the city of Plymouth police department that the driver at the time had his Minnesota license was revoked because of prior incidents of high rate of speed. And when we're talking like his speeding tickets that he got, it wasn't 10 over or 5 over. It's 20, 25. High rates of speed, way over the speed limit. And it was multiple times in less than 2 to 3 years. So after learning that and then realizing that, he actually had a license to drive out of the state of Wisconsin. And the car was actually in his parents' name and licensed to, or insured probably. Yeah, insured through his parents. So he was driving basically under Wisconsin's license in Minnesota, but had a Minnesota license that was revoked.
And you live so close to him, you saw him driving around, right?
Yeah, that's after getting the police report, they put, everybody's name and address in there. And we had just moved into this neighborhood 1 week before this happened. So 2 weeks after it happened, we find out that this guy is going to be our neighbor. And I would say I walk out on my deck, I can see his house basically. He's about a block away. So from the time of the issue, he was still driving around like, he had all of his freedoms to do whatever he wanted. Right. So it's very tough witnessing freedoms from somebody that shouldn't, technically have them. So
we're talking with Matt Whalen, who lost his grandmother at the hands of a speeder. Tell me how you got involved in an effort to change the law.
Yeah, so really it started back when we were going through working with Hennepin County Attorney's Office and realizing that the amount of excuses that would come from the county attorney's office on charging to the fullest just disgusted me. And, from there, I just really, I started calling every representative in the House that I could call and try to get a hold of to push for some change. Unfortunately, our case is done and closed, and we can't go back and do anything about it. But moving forward for the rest of people in Minnesota, what I'd like to see personally is, if somebody has a revoked or suspended license and commits a crime like this to this level where they are charged with criminal vehicular homicide or criminal vehicular operation, that it mirrors the DWI charges. If you're drunk,
you lose your car, you lose the ability to drive. Yeah,
you lose everything. And
it's like it's like a murderer gets charged and then they're out on bond and you just go hand them the gun back.
Exactly, and that's where we were really upset. Seeing them drive by every day. We would see him just drive right in front of our house, walk his dog, and stuff. And
we treat criminal driving, we treat reckless driving and murder by car, we treat that with such kid gloves, I feel.
Yeah, and I think that's
because it's not intentional, right? It's that the law is sort of written in a way that, like, the crime, when you were speeding, you weren't intending to kill someone. I don't know. I feel like we got to be tougher on this.
That's correct. Yeah, 100%. That was the excuse, that was driven to us was, he wasn't intending to do what he did that day, but at the same time, you gotta know you're doing 95 in a 45.
Right. Come on.
That's reckless. That's ridiculous.
That's a choice. So. That is a choice. And people need to know that if you make that choice, you are you're making a criminal choice. This is not just like, oh, I happen to drive fast. Give me a break.
100%. Yep. And that's where I took it upon myself to really get involved and push for some kind of change here, needs to happen, whether it be this year or next year or down the road. This has been going on way too long, and it's not just my story that, hits me hard. There's other stories out there where, not long ago, a 17-year-old girl was struck somewhere.
Yeah.
And that guy only got 3 years probation.
Right.
Yeah, and that's terrible.
Well, I know there's a bill that Representative Kristen Robbins from the Maple Grove, Plymouth area has gotten through the House right now. And this would basically, if you got charged in the scenario you're talking about, it would be an automatic driver's license suspension. Now, we don't know. Some of these guys are just absolute scumbags, and they're driving around on revoked licenses already. And anyway, like, they don't care. But to me, like, that's no reason to not, like, fight back and tighten up our laws.
Yeah, that's correct. They really need to tighten up the laws around any kind of if you get pulled over and you have a suspended license, it's a misdemeanor. You're free to go. They don't even take your car away. They don't take you to jail. They used to do that, but now they just let you go, and let you drive away. So, we really need to take a different look, a different approach to it, and charge it to a higher level.
Matt, I thank you so much for your advocacy. Let's hope the Senate passes this. And I just think you're honoring your grandmother in a way that I think all of us are proud of, right? That just what a great way to take charge and try to do something good for everybody else. Thanks, Matt.
That's the intention. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it.
Matt Whalen. Sometimes it's just regular people, right? Called to action because just something terrible happened in their life. 3:48 back in just a minute with Adventures in Uber. Dan Cook's Adventures in Uber. Coming up in just a minute here on DriveTime.
Jason DeRusha and DriveTime needs to make a brief pit stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about what I had for dinner last night. Are you ready for this? First of all, you're never going to guess. All right, you can guess. It's a giant pork chop. Just like the biggest pork chop I've ever seen in my life. We're out to dinner. Alyssa, my friend Tom, and I order this double bone-in pork chop, and it was delivered to the table by a server who described it as adult birthday cake. Now, it was so good. Minnesota pork, man. You can get it in so many different varieties. Now, this, let me tell you, bone-in pork chop is one of the most delicious meats you're ever going to have. And on top of it, it is so high in protein. So many of us right now focusing on getting more protein in our lives. Pork is a great way to get it done. And Minnesota pork is a great way to tell our family farmers every corner of the state, 3,000 family farmers. That's what Minnesota pork is all about. It's a way to support them. It's a way to say, we believe in you and we want you to keep the legacy of agriculture alive in Minnesota. Go to the grocery store, go to the butcher shop, go to your favorite restaurant and say, let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
I'm John Taft, Vice Chairman of Baird. For over 100 years, Baird's people and expertise have made a difference in the financial advice and services we provide. Our experts on 3 continents combine diverse backgrounds and perspectives to meet your needs. Being nationally recognized as a great place to work helps Baird attract the best people in our industry to advise you. Experience a different kind of financial partnership. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
Hi, Denny Long here. Join us every Saturday for the Home Improvement Show by Lindis Construction. Andy Lindis and I will be taking your home improvement questions both by phone and by text every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock here on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Imagine placing an investment or trade without fear. Knowing that big institutions have taken the same trade as you, pushing the price higher, which only they can do. You get to ride the wave of institutional demand. If not, your plan will protect you from the downside. This is how our students are taught to invest in trade. Right now, you can sign up for a free investing class where we'll outline our strategy for following the smart money. Text investing to 210-210. We'll also review strategies for growing a retirement portfolio, how professionals profit when stocks are falling, and how to protect your investments against inflation. With a 25-year history, local classrooms, and one-on-one support, you're not alone. And now it's your turn. Sign up for a free investing class today. Text investing to 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply or play. Stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text LINE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text LINE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text LINE to 200-300. That's LINE to 200-300. LINE to 200-300.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Drive slow along 394 eastbound, making your way toward Penn Avenue into downtown Minneapolis. North 169 congested between Highway 7 and Highway 55. 494 northbound, watching some slowdowns there over 394. West 94, not bad out of Maple Grove. Actually looking pretty good as you make the run Hemlock Lane all the way up into St. Michael. Terry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
I use it. It works for me, and I am thrilled to be able to share the information with you. Jordana Green here, and yes, I'm talking about CBD.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather brought to you by Mini Leaf. Chris Schaefer telling us some rain showers to the south tonight, low of 34. So much melting. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy. Rain showers by evening, high is 48. Wednesday, looking at perhaps light snow to the north. It's that sort of in-between season, isn't it? High of 45. Going to be warm and dry the rest of the work week. Right now, it is 52 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
This is not bold. It's stupid, buffoonish, childish. This is just amateur hour.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, it looks to me like the end is coming.
So Dan Cook gave me the option on Saturday morning in Fort Myers, Florida, after we were covering Twin Spring training all week. Dan was kind enough, because I was saying all week, like, I'll drive you to the airport. Your flight was at 9 in the morning.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'll drive you. And you were like,
there's no need for you to get up and have to drive me. I can get an Uber and expense it, and it'll be fine.
I was like, well, I could drive you. Like, what's the big
Right.
deal? And it took about a week, and you wore me down.
I just,
with kindness.
Exactly. I was just trying to be, it wasn't like, yeah, I mean, I absolutely would have accepted a ride from you. But again, with there being no need.
Yeah, it also seems silly.
It seems silly.
But I'm just used to the drive to the airport. Is what I do.
Yeah, which is fine. That's
if
great.
a friend needs a ride to the airport, I would do it. Is this the ultimate expression of friendship? The drive to the airport. Depends on how far you live from the airport.
Helping
and
move.
what time.
I think helping move is slightly ahead of the drive to the airport, but the drive to the airport is right.
You
up.
sort of age out of the helping of moving, right?
You should. You should.
I have offered.
Alas.
I have genuinely offered to help, even like small F friends. So you Uber, and
right.
What
and,
happened?
And again, one of the major differences between you and I is you love engaging strange people in conversation. I would prefer not to. And Uber actually does usually, and I couldn't find.
I would
this
say
option.
strangers, not strange people. But,
Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I meant. Uber gives you that option where you can click the box and get a no talk driver, right? And I was in a hurry and wasn't paying attention. I think it was partially because I reserved the ride instead of just ordering it morning of, but I couldn't find that option and I didn't click it. And the gal that came to pick me up was very, very nice, right? So she starts out and I can tell pretty quickly she's a chatty Cathy, and that's fine. So she's chatting me up and I'm trying to play along and be engaging and do the whole thing. And then there's a phone call over her system, right? And she says, I'm really sorry, but this is my mom. I have to take this. Okay, fine. So she takes it, and it's this family drama. I won't go into all the details, but they're discussing this family drama situation, and I'm very uncomfortable because I don't need to know somebody else's family. There's enough drama in my own family. I don't need it. Okay, fine. So she ends the phone call and then decides that I need to know the background leading up to this call of all the family drama. And I'm trying to be polite and, sure. Yeah. I don't want any part of this comment. Get me to the airport and get me the heck out of this car as quickly as humanly possible. And I still gave her a very nice tip. So fine. But this is why they have that option. This is why folks like me desperately need to use this option, because I didn't need to know any of this.
I think they offer this, right?
They absolutely do.
But do they not offer it on the cheap Uber?
Well, it's
like,
it's
is it only
certain,
on like you got to be on the fancy Uber?
I don't know if there was a couple different levels
Comfort
when I looked it up that it was on. I wonder if it's because I reserved it. Honestly, that was the issue.
If anybody knows to help Dan to continue in his quest to avoid speaking to other human beings.
Goodness.
I get uncomfortable when they get a phone call, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean,
you're
it kind of seems like
driver.
You're working, I get it's mom, so if something's wrong.
Yeah, if mom calls. It's also 7 a.m.
I just didn't need the whole Uncle
Mom was
David
up early.
drama. Oh,
Mom had to go to the bathroom early. She had to get all that drama out of her system, too. Hey, Raddatz, fear of flying when we come back.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Attention small business owners needing financing. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as one business day. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year or more with a monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's swishfunding.com.
The station of record for the Twin Cities, Minnesota, and the Upper Midwest. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
News on the hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump hosted the French president at the White House today to discuss Ukraine.
It's time to end this bloodletting and restore peace, and I think we're going to do it.
Correspondent Ed O'Keefe.
So no firm resolution today, but an important meeting that had to happen, that Europe was eager to see happen. And Macron can go back to France and to Europe more broadly now and say, at least for now, the United States is still engaged.
Millions of federal workers are unsure how to respond to an email that they list their job activities from the past week or risk losing their jobs. Others are already unemployed. That includes many IRS workers, just as tax season is underway. Here's Jim Krasula.
They are part of the Trump administration's firings. Some 400 people have lost their jobs. It was an emotional scene at a large IRS processing facility in Philadelphia.
We had crying, not just of the employees who were being let go, the managers who knew their value.
and were upset that they had these good employees that they hoped to foster great careers working for this nation. Now that's gone.
Alex Berman is with the National Treasury Employees Union. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
The Trump administration has prepared plans to implement a policy that would allow immigration officials to expel migrants on the grounds they could carry diseases. It's known as Title 42, and Trump enacted it at the beginning of the pandemic as well. Melo Montoya Galvez has more.
Officials are planning to reinstate that policy, citing concerns that migrants could spread communicable diseases like tuberculosis in the U.S. Obviously, during the first time, it cited COVID concerns.
Doctors in Rome gave an update on the Pope's condition, saying he has slightly improved. Reporter Delia Gallagher.
The Pope worked this afternoon and indeed called the Catholic parish in Gaza, which is something that he has been doing on a regular basis for the past few months.
Still, he remains in critical condition. Matt Piper reports on the death of a Secret Service agent, Clint Hill, who risked his life for a former president.
He was a Secret Service agent who jumped onto the back of President John F. Kennedy's limousine after he was shot. You may not have known his name, but you know the images.
There's a Secret Service man, spread eagle over the top of the car.
Hill would retire early because he remained haunted by the memories from that day in Dallas in 1963. He blamed himself for the president's death, as he told Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes in 1975.
If I had reacted just a little bit quicker, and I could have, I guess, and I'll live with that to my grave.
Clint Hill was 93.
This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You could save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit Progressive.com.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy, 50 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. It appears the wheels are in motion to replace Northstar commuter rail service between the Twin Cities and Big Lake with a bus line instead. Minnesota House Transportation Committee Chair John Kosnick telling KSTP TV political reporter Tom Hauser on the WCCO Morning News today it has been a big burden on taxpayers.
It's never had the ridership that it has expected to. And we want to not just talk about it, but begin the process of terminating the operations and reusing those dollars in other transit areas that people will use and that we can help relieve congestion and help people get to where they want.
In a joint statement, the Met Council and MnDOT say they have started exploring transitioning the Northstar train service to bus service. A timeline and the projected savings of such a project are expected in the coming months. Republicans in the Minnesota House want to stop any more activity on the Blue Line light rail line until the Southwest light rail route is complete and up and running. Representative Krista Rollins introduced the bill, saying the Southwest line continues to be a drain on taxpayers.
Just to give a little history, in 2011, it was scheduled to open in 2018 at the cost of $1.25 billion. In 2018, when it was supposed to open, they said, oh no, it'll cost $2 billion and it'll open in 2023.
Minnesota's domestic violence nonprofits are asking for answers amid a funding freeze imposed by the Trump administration. DFL Senate Representative Claire Umu verbatim says right now vital resources are on the line.
The shelters, hotlines, legal assistance, counseling are essential lifelines for survivors of domestic and sexual violence. And without proper funding, Minnesota's victim services will be forced to make devastating cuts like staff layoffs, reduced programs, and closures that are already looming on the horizon.
She says without these services, over 70,000 Minnesotans could be left without housing and access to certain health care. It has been a beautiful day for a blood drive at CHS Field in St. Paul.
Blood drives are happening almost every day during the winter, and expectations are set. Melissa Santana of the Twin Cities Red Cross.
Our recruitment team sets a goal for the day, and then based on that goal, they set a number of appointments, considering how many walk-ins or how many no-shows come in.
Julia Jaffe was one of the first to donate this morning at CHS Field.
I mean, it hurts obviously when they're, putting the needle in, but, to know that you're helping somebody who, needs blood and, needs to be saved. And I would do it 10 times over.
The goal at this particular blood drive is to collect 40 units by the end of the day. In addition to that feeling of personal satisfaction, the donors are offered cookies and Saints merchandise. At CHS Field in St. Paul, Al Schock, Newstalk 830 WCCO.
I mean, it's not worth it for the cookies, Laura.
Oh, come on.
The cookies
Those are
aren't
good
that
cookies.
They're not that good.
After you've had the blood drained out of your body, don't you think you would love to just have a nice cookie to replenish your electrolytes?
I mean, usually after, I try to think like I like sometimes you get pretzels or goldfish.
Yes, some sodium.
Or like a Ritz cracker with like the peanut butter in between.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want your crappy cookie. I don't
No.
need your bag of like generic. No.
Give me the salt.
I love the imagery there of the blood being drained out of your body. I've never really.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Please give blood. I did not mean that in any kind of a bad
drain
way.
some of the blood out of your body. Not all of it.
I am absolutely kidding.
Very good.
It's 4:07 on CCO.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Got slowdowns in place, 494 northbound, 394 heading up to Highway 55. Your slowdowns continue for 394 eastbound, especially that right lane pan over toward 94 westbound into Minneapolis, slows at Riverside. Over in St. Paul, things running smoothly, South 35B right through the downtown stretch, heading down to 494. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The face of Minnesota veterans is changing. For the Centennial Year celebration, DAV of Minnesota invites you to join the ongoing effort to fulfill promises made to the men and women who served our great state and nation. Donate today at davmn.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by DAV of Minnesota. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It stays mild enough that we have more chances of rain than snow. Rain showers mainly across southern Minnesota tonight, falling back to 34. Mostly cloudy with rain showers more widespread, mainly in the evening tomorrow after a high of 48. There is a chance of light snow mainly in northern Minnesota on Wednesday. We could see some flurries late.
Right now it's cloudy, 50 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Because your neighbor's Facebook rant isn't news. Get the real story here. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie. Just DeRusha. It's drive time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DeRusha.
Now, texture saying in New Ulm they give you a beer after you give blood. That's got to be a Shells move, right? Like you're by the Shells Brewery. New Ulm, one of the most underrated cities in Minnesota, I think. Have you ever been to New Ulm, Dan? I know, is this an absurd question?
No, I mean, no, it's not an absurd question. I'm just trying. If I have been, it was a long, long time ago.
Home of the Turner Hall.
Yeah.
Home of the Minnesota Music Hall of Fame, I think, is in New Ulm. A lot of German stuff. It's like a clock tower. I remember like climbing with my kids. I don't know. New Ulm, man. Give you beer. Would people give more blood if they knew they were going to get a beer afterwards?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably some carbohydrate replenishment that I'm sure you
really have to get to that level of.
You can come up with some cockamamie science.
Here's a free beer. Here you go.
That's true. We probably don't need the science.
Probably not.
Just the beer. Hour 2 gets going with our friend Kate Raddatz in the Rad Report.
She's an Emmy Award-winning reporter.
Yeah, I love it.
She's a senior public relations pro. She can belt out the national anthem better than most.
It's a process. Like, you got to find someone to do it with because it's not fun by yourself. So I don't know.
But maybe the most important role she plays coming at the stories of the day from the perspective of a millennial mom. Let's all learn a thing or two from the mind and filter of Kate Raddatz.
Yeah, there you go. There's what's happening.
This is the Rad Report.
Kate, would you give blood if you got a beer out of the deal?
I mean, sure. I'm German, and I have family there in New Ulm. So yeah.
That's sort of the. I mean, there's a lot of beer. It's definitely like pills. It's going to be a pills. It's not like huge IPA land there. Although, like Fire Brick, I think that's look at my knowledge of New Ulm beer.
That's pretty good.
I'm ready.
I don't enjoy giving, but I mean, I should, but it is not my favorite. That is definitely up there with they have butterfly needles you can use. I like those ones. They're the tiny ones.
So my mother-in-law my mother-in-law is young at heart and very like full of energy, but she is old. And she gave blood and then went to the gas station. She's going to kill me if she hears me say that.
How many times do you say that?
As I start telling the story, it's too late. I'm finishing the story.
Are you sure you want to commit? It's not too late, actually. But
I feel
sure,
like
go
I've
ahead.
So she gives blood because she's an amazing human being. The biggest criticism I could ever make of my mother-in-law is that she thinks of others always first.
That's pretty good.
And we're like, you know what would be good, Mom, is to put yourself first a little bit. Like, it's okay. You can put yourself first. But she's a very generous and loving person. So, of course, she's giving blood at 70 plus. And then she goes to the gas station and, like, passed out, like, at the counter.
Oh, geez.
Clunkaroo right there by the chuck wagons and the skull. I don't know, like all of this.
Oh.
Right. So my
Not
wife gets a
fun.
phone call like, hey, can you come and get your mother?
Oh, no.
Come and get your mother. So at a certain point, like you don't need to give blood. It's okay. The rest of us will pick up. We'll pick it up. When I get blood, I get a little competitive and I feel like I'm not pumping it out at the rate that I feel like I would like to. Like I'm letting down the people in need. I'm not like it should be gushing out of me.
Nope. See, nope, not a fan. I don't. Yep.
You don't want any of
Good
that.
for you, but
You want a slow
Nope.
drip?
I'm fine. I just, you know what
It's
I
all
don't
right.
want?
You don't
And
have
this
to
is
get-
not a diss on the health. They're great, but every now and then you get someone who misses.
Oh,
And you're like,
yes.
I can't do it again. I don't want to
Yes.
do it again. It doesn't happen often. They're wonderful. But they're like, that wasn't a good one. Let's
It
try it again.
happens. It happens more often than it should because I went to give blood. I had a period where I was hot on giving blood. Like
Okay.
I never did it. The first time I did it was at a bloodmobile outside of Channel 4 when I worked over there.
Okay.
And I was like, I should give blood all the time. I'm on the news because always it's a freaking emergency with blood, right? It's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we're running out of blood. So I'm like, all right, I'm telling people to give blood. I should give some blood.
Sure.
So I go and it went fine. And then I'm
Okay.
like, this is great. I'm going to keep doing it. And so I went to outside of Jersey Mike's in Maple Grove. Like you're checking it like
Which
people
already sounds great.
so sketchy. And so you're checking in, you get whatever. And the person kept missing. It was just, it was a
I can't
miss
take it.
and a miss.
Nope.
And then she got it.
Okay.
And you're trying, and I'm trying to be supportive. And then you're like, why am I being supportive? Like she should be supportive of me. But I was like,
Yep.
I can't handle one more miss. Like I can't. And then she finally got it.
And you bruised too,
Well,
you know?
maybe
like,
it's me.
well,
Maybe it's my fault. Like I
could
assume.
be, you got bad veins, you know?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You have a fear of flying. And well, you had a fear of flying because I
I had
remember
a pretty bad fear.
I
Very,
remember
very
when you
bad.
were really working through this. And this comes up because, of course, with the Delta flight and the crash landing about a week ago, flipping over, I think a lot of people are talking about that fear. And it wasn't just the Delta flight, right? We had the collision of the helicopter, the Army helicopter, and the plane in Washington, D.C. And it seems like we've had a number of kind of unconnected, but like a little bit of a drumbeat of things going on with flying.
Mm-hmm.
How did you decide to work through this? Because this was a pretty severe fear, right?
Oh, I mean, I avoided travel as much as I could, which is really sad because, you know, before we had kids, we had more time than we'll have for a long time to be able to, you know, travel when we wanted to. But yeah, it was probably a half of my life that I would lose sleep over it. I would really kind of panic getting through the takeoff. For me, it was really the takeoff. And I think for me, it was multiple things. I mean, I really started talking to people who traveled a lot, not just for fun, but where commuting is by plane is normal for them. They don't even think about it when they get on a plane. Because I think people say, well, how can someone be afraid of flying when they know the statistics? And you just can't really reason with someone. I knew the statistics. It's safer to drive than it is to fly. But it just doesn't help, really.
Yes.
It's hard, it's hard to explain. So, I wish I could say it was any one thing, but in the end, for me, it was really telling myself, like, I may not ever love this, but I need to get to a point where I can manage it, and I'm just kind of neutral about it. I did not want to pass that on to my kids, and so it just the more I did it, it just got better. And I won't lie, these stories, they do freak me out. I have to not watch. I kind of have to tune that out.
Yeah.
But I do fine. I flew last week and I do fine. So I would tell people who are afraid to travel more, because I think if you avoid it,
it's hard to do, right? Because you're afraid.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
I also, I never had a debilitating fear of flying. But Alyssa would always talk how I would really squeeze her hand on the takeoff, because the takeoff landing never made me nervous. The takeoff always did. And turbulence, turbulence, I was able to logic my way out of that, reading the data, and the fact that the only injuries from turbulence are usually unseatbelted people or in the lavatory. So that helped me, because that feels like, oh, this thing's going down. And of course, it's not. Turbulence is a normal thing and it's a predictable thing generally, but I'm with you that you can't always you can't logic your way out of these things when it's the mind sort of telling you it's scary. It's scary.
Right.
You just have
it's a lack of control in this huge thing. It's
100%.
It's a lack of control. So, I feel you on the turbulence thing. They say you should sit closer to the wing if turbulence makes you nervous. So if you are someone who is a little nervous when the plane is a little rockier, you can try to book a seat closer to the wing. So
I like it. I know it is definitely with spring break coming. It's something that I think a lot of people are thinking about, right?
Yeah. And I think it is hard to see. I mean, obviously we want to find out what happened in these several tragic and scary incidents, but at the same time, you do have to put it in perspective of how many do land safely every day and do take off safely every day. And if seeing those news stories do trigger you, if you're the type of person that's going to be triggered by it, maybe you do want to take a little break.
So I think I know your answer to this question. Dan and I were talking about this last week, knowing today that everybody walked away, everybody's out of the hospital from that Delta flight that flipped and crash landed, flipped over. Would it be better to be bumped from that flight, so you got $1,000 flight credit, and you were not on the plane that crashed? Or is it better to be on a plane that crashes, flips over, you walk away, you survive, you get $30,000, and have the ultimate story to trump any story that anyone ever tells in the rest of your life? I survived a plane crash. Which scenario would you pick?
Hands down, option one. Not even close.
That's what I said.
Not even. Those people are going to be traumatized for the rest of their lives.
I don't know. You got to play it right. I feel like for me, this would be amazing. This would be the
you
best.
got something to talk about on the radio.
Yes!
For the rest of us.
Forever.
We would be traumatized.
Forever. You're at some bar and some ding-dong's telling you the story of his glory days when he led the football team to the state championship. And you sit there, you quietly listen, and then you say, I survived a plane crash.
No.
Yes.
Nope. Option
and
one.
I got
100%.
$300,000 payday or something. I don't know how much money these guys are going to get, but it sounds pretty good to me. Stand by. Kate Raddatz will continue in a minute. Big news today from the media world that Lester Holt is stepping down. Originally, I wanted to talk to you about why we're so obsessed with TV news people. But looking at the reaction today, it seems incredibly muted for someone who's had that job for 10 years. So we'll talk about that when we come back on CCO.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about Tureen Dermatology. It's Jason from my friends at Tureen. I was actually talking with my friends at Tureen Dermatology today about Melanoma Monday coming up in May, because they're thinking about your skin and your health and getting the word out all the time. Tureen Dermatology is here for all of your skin concerns. If you have eczema or acne, or your skin just feels weird, or you have a spot you want checked out, get that appointment today. You can book online. They'll get you in within 3 weeks. They don't mess around. They're so nice, so nice. You will immediately be put at ease. You can do it all at Tureen, Tareen, dermatology.com. Now, that full body skin checkup is so important. My dad has a history of skin cancer. And so I have it. It's in the genes. So I go every year to get that full body skin checkup. Don't mess around with this stuff. Skin cancer is very, very serious stuff, and I want you to take it seriously, and Tureen Dermatology will take care of you. Go check them out online, Tureen, Tareen, dermatology.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
Drive Time with DeRusha is getting rolling again. Perfect. On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Kate Raddatz is with us. The Rad Report every other Monday here at 4 on CCO, hour number 2. Last week, the news came out that a meteorologist at Channel 5 was leaving. And, you know, TV, man, it's always like a mystery, right? Like one day they're there, the next day they're gone. You're like, what happened? What happened? You spent 6 years telling me how great this person is, how they're the best meteorologist in the world. They're a great citizen, born and raised local. And then it's we wish them well on their future endeavors. Peace out. I was amazed that like Ren Claire leaving Channel 5 had like 1,500 comments on.
Wow.
Just on like Bring Me the News, not even like on, it was just on one Facebook entry. People are do you think people in Minnesota are obsessed with TV people at like a higher rate than people in other states? Because I just thought that was amazing.
I do think at least for local news, I do think it's a bit of it's heightened in the Midwest, I think, in my experience. I mean, I know you've worked in other places in the Midwest as well, too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yes, I do. I don't think it's limited here, but I think it's heightened here for sure.
Do you think it's because we have no other celebrities living here? I don't mean that as an insult, but it is just sort of the reality, you know?
I really don't know. I don't know. It could be that we have so many. I mean, I do feel like people feel like they've gotten to know these people because we do have people who have worked here for so long in the market.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, maybe that's part of it, but I think people still ask me. I've been out of the news business for 2.5 years, and if they find out I work, they go, "Oh, do you know Frank and Amelia?" So, it's just they're very, very curious. So
yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense to a certain degree, right? Where like the local news I think, is interesting in a time where the people who hate the media are incredibly vocal about it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, the surveys show people, the trust in media is down and down and down. But I was looking up today, like how many people watch the evening news, 5:30 here, your ABC, NBC, and CBS. And it's about 19 million Americans. That's a lot of people at 5:30
a lot
at
of
night.
people.
I thought, like, it's way less than what it used to be, but that's a lot of people.
Sure. That's a ton of people. And, us morning people, like, we're still watching the morning news. So,
yeah. What do you think?
TV is still very powerful.
What do you think? Like, I was trying to think today, who are the departures that sort of affected us or impacted us or hit us? And because the Lester Holt news, he was doing it for 10 years. I mean, that's a long time. You think of what he's overseen over all these years. That was when Brian Williams left. And Brian Williams had to leave because he was a bit of a storyteller, embellishing the stories. He would go on talk shows and sort of spin a yarn, and then people were like, you know what? This is not what actually happened. Sort of Tim Walsh-ish, I mean? Like, you just kind of get going with a story, and you get a little carried away.
Yes.
I've never done this myself. My story
Oh, yes, never.
100% factual. But, like, who are the names when they left that, like, sort of you were like, oh, man, like, that's a bummer?
Oh, man. I mean, this was so recent, but I really was. I mean, she's not leaving the network, but Nora O'Donnell, Scott Pelley. I loved him. Wasn't he right before her, actually? No.
Yeah, Pelley was before Nora, and Katie Couric was before Pelley.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, to me, those were. I'm
Those
really
were bad,
sad about Nora stepping down. So.
I mean, I grew up with Jennings. I was a Peter Jennings household, and I interned at ABC with Peter Jennings. So when he died, he stepped away to fight lung cancer and then died. And then right after that, Brokaw retired in 2005, I think. And then right after that, Rather. So it's like boom, 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 the big three.
Oh, yeah.
To me, like, I don't know, the only comparison that really is impacted are maybe like some of the morning show people, right? Like Charlie Gibson at ABC.
Oh, sure.
When like Matt Lauer went, but like it was under a storm, right? Like, so I mean, a lot of
it was a huge deal.
Yeah, a lot of this, it's like, okay, in the modern era, when people go, usually there's some scandal.
For sure. Katie Couric leaving was a huge one.
That was
I
big.
mean, that was a long time ago. Yes.
I feel like today you're never going to have a national news anchor that people are going to care about. And I don't know if you'll ever have local news.
I don't know about that.
You think?
Yes, I think people are really upset Lester's leaving. I mean, I love him. So, yes, I think it's a big deal. But
it is a big deal, but I don't think it's, NBC gets about, I don't know, I think it's like 6 or 7 million viewers a night.
Mm-hmm.
David Muir is the overwhelming #1 show on ABC. Yes. It's just different now. People have you don't have to wait till 5:30 to get your news. You can get it. You get it everywhere. It's on all the time. I don't know. It's so different. So different now.
The networks hope you won't notice, right? They hope that you won't notice that someone's changed, someone new has come in. So.
Oh yeah, the new person's getting a much lower paycheck.
A deal.
That is for sure. Locally, like, we're going to revisit this in about 15 minutes because I want to know. I think local departures hit people harder. I do. I think you feel more connected to the local anchor than the national anchor.
100%. Yes.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yes.
Very good. Kate, have a great week. How nice is this weather? Are you enjoying the warm?
Oh, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. 4-day stretch and then back to reality.
It's like rainbows and sunshine on my Facebook page today. I asked people to post something that gives them joy and gives them sunshine, and it's nice. It's not, I thought I'd trade in a little positivity from my normal content.
I like it. It's new for you. It's good.
Trying to mix it up. Kate Raddatz, we appreciate it. Thanks, Kate. It's 4:30. We're going to break, And when we come back, a bit of an emergency Dan Hayes visit. Minnesota Twins, we were down in Florida when the news came out on Friday that it looked like the leading contenders to buy the Minnesota Twins were out. So what's happening next? Are fans going to be happy or mad? We'll talk about it with Dan Hayes in a minute here on CCO.
Jason DeRusha returns shortly with more of Drive Time on News Talk 830 WCCO.
It's Legislation Mania 2025. I'm Bob.
And I'm Biff. We're ready for the main event featuring the champion for nearly 250 years. It's Checks and Balances.
Yeah, but Biff, we've got a challenger no one's been able to stop. Introducing Executive Orders.
Leaping out of his corner right away, it's Executive Orders, and oh, that had to hurt. And oh my, Checks and Balances really taking a beating here.
The gloves are off, the mics are on, and you get to hear every takedown on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hey, Twins fans, it's time for spring training in Fort Myers. Cheer on your favorite team at Hammond Stadium within the Lee Health Sports Complex. Then explore the islands, beaches, and neighborhoods of Fort Myers between games. Sink your toes into white sand, discover lush nature preserves filled with wildlife, and dine on fresh Gulf seafood. Turning your love of baseball into a relaxing vacation just feels right. Start planning at visitfortmyers.com. We're here with Holly from Apollo Heating, Air, and Plumbing talking about new technology. Instant quotes? This is a thing?
Now we have instant quotes on callapollo.com.
Well, what do you mean instant? Like I can instantly go to the website and somebody gets back to me in a week?
Absolutely not. Instant. Like right now.
Like right now?
Right now.
Right now?
Yes, right now. Get an instant quote on your furnace, air conditioner, even a water heater.
Apollo's already my number one, and now instant quotes.
So do it right now. Get your instant quote from callapollo.com.
Like right now.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Keep your business in the know with USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Nobody wants to wait around forever for their home to sell. It's tough. A lot of people feel like if they accept an offer too quickly, though, that they're probably leaving money on the table. Hey, it's Vanita. Just call my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Brenda just worked with John to sell her townhome. Someone who she really trusted made the referral, and Brenda learned she can trust that person even more because of how great John was. He fired up his marketing system. It reaches thousands of potential home buyers every single day. It took him less than 72 hours to get a handful of offers and found a buyer. Now she's one of his more than 5,000 satisfied customers. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving, johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Got some activity off to the right side of 494 northbound near Fish Lake Road. You have patrol and ambulance off to the right side. Traffic is jammed and crammed as you come up from Rockford Road. Driving west 94 to Minneapolis, that slows. Riverside into the Lowry Hill Tunnel. The crosstown is slow in both directions between Cedar and Tracy Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCC.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw and Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw and Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather is brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorney seeking justice for the injured. Here is WCCO Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Definitely feeling more like March than the last week of February. Rain showers south tonight, falling back to 34. Basically a mostly cloudy day tomorrow with a high of 48 with another round of rain coming. This hits in the evening, even here in the Twin Cities. Some light snow mainly up north on Wednesday.
Woodbury, you're looking at cloudy skies and 49. So much snow melting happening here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
It's a piece of art.
It is very interesting. Could be very euphoric, but could be demoralizing.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Who wants to own the Minnesota Twins? Big news late last week while we were in Fort Myers, Florida. Dan Hayes with The Athletic, the Twins beat writer, reporting that the Twins are regrouping because the billionaire, Justin Ishbia, is out. What happened, Dan Hayes? Why didn't Ishbia want the Twins? Why didn't he want us?
I think, look, let's be honest, he found a better date at the dance. Like, he wanted the White Sox all along. He's a minority owner in the White Sox. And as much as he liked the Twins and flirted with the Twins and got down the road with the Twins, when the White Sox heard that the Twins were involved, they reached out about apparently a few weeks ago and said, look, we've reconsidered your previous offers, and we'd love for you to purchase up more minority shares of the team. And even though the White Sox are denying that there is a eventual path to power for him to buy the team from Jerry Reinsdorf, because it's probably going to be that he gets to buy the team after Jerry Reinsdorf passes away, and Jerry Reinsdorf turns 89 tomorrow. But even though
sort of awkward to admit it, right? Like,
right.
When
You
this
don't
guy
wanna put a clock
bites,
on it.
right? Yeah,
Right, yeah, exactly. So, and plus, you don't want the public pressure if you're Jerry Reinsdorf of get rid of the team. This billionaire is here to take
when
over.
you're leaving, let's go. Yeah, it's
Right?
a train ride.
So like, but that has to be in place because he could have owned the Twins outright by opening day, when all indications were he was the leading contender. And the White Sox said, let's do this. And he of course said, yeah. I mean, this is a guy who lives in Winnetka, which is above Evanston. It's a little north of Evanston. He is building
It's the Edina
history.
It's the Edina, the Twin Cities for people. Winnetka is Moneyville.
And he is building the biggest home in the history of Illinois. It's rumored to be $70 million for this mansion he's building. So
why not?
He just So he's wanted the White Sox all along. So it just was unfortunate for the Twins on the timing.
So here's the question, because I think the Ishbia name has been the name we've heard mostly because you've reported it. The Athletic team has been reporting it. I find it hard to believe that's the only billionaire that's kicked the tires on the Twins. What is the situation? What was this really the leading candidate, or was this just the only candidate that we really knew about?
Okay, look, I will say that league sources who are close to people involved in the sales process have identified him all along as a leading candidate. He was motivated. He reached out to a bunch of people in Minnesota looking for minority investors, establishing the kind of relationships that you make when you want to open business.
Maurer, did he reach out to Maurer? I know there's been talk.
If he didn't, I'm sure he.
Well, you'd be crazy to not, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm fairly certain that he reached out to a former first baseman of the same name, but he definitely was the guy. And the reason I've come to that conclusion is, look, when I talked to the people who were helping facilitate this sale in January, early on, they were super confident this would be done by opening day, that they would pick a winning bidder. And that was, a lot of people with the Twins were floored. They're like, what? Where's this coming from? Because they keep the names quiet. But when I talked to people around the sale this last week after we found out, and I think we found out on Wednesday night, and I felt really bad because I know you and I had just talked about Justin Ishbia. But when we found out on Wednesday night, that this was kind of going down. We talked to the person facilitating the sale, and all of a sudden it went from, opening day to,
Not
maybe
so fast.
we'll have resolution in 30 to 60 days. And the market went from being described as robust in January to adequate. Now, I do think there's interest. There's names. I can't say them because I haven't got them totally confirmed. I've heard them from one person, and I trust that person, but there are names out there. There's some interesting parties for sure. But now it's kind of like, if you're the Twins, you have to go back and find a new date. You were well down the road. You were at the dance and you got stood up, and now you have to start all over. And so it's regrouping, and whether it'll get done, we'll see, because it is regrouping. And if you've ever sold a house, the longer it's on the market, the worse it is for the seller. So,
and we've seen this many times as we talk with Dan Hayes from The Athletic, who is down covering spring training and covering the business around this question of who the owner is going to be of the Minnesota Twins. We have seen other teams that were exploring a sale and didn't get the money, didn't get the dollar they wanted, or didn't get the right deal, whatever.
Yeah.
And then ended up just pulling the team off the market. That could happen here, right?
It absolutely could. I think that there's still motivation from the Pohlad family to move on after 40 years.
How pissed are the Pohlads who are not named Joe, who want out, if they're going to be stuck still owning it?
Yeah, and I think Joe is probably thrilled just because he wants to.
He wants it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, but that's a big family. It's not everybody wants to do this, and so I would think there will still be motivation. It could look different. It might be later on. But I do expect this team will be sold at some point. It's just, is it by opening day? Probably not. Probably, is it even by end of April, May? Who knows?
Yeah.
It might not be till next year, but I think there's enough people there that want to move on, that at least in some form they will sell, whether that's, selling a third of it or selling 66% of it, something like that. But it's definitely a lot more complicated now that Justin Ishbia is out of the picture. And boy, what a kick in the pants for Twins fans who go from having this guy who wants to spend, he's spending $70 million on his mansion. Think about that. This is the kind of guy that spends a lot of money and
you could buy yourself a pretty good first baseman for, a little bit of that spare change he's throwing around.
It is, and man, oh man, if he was to get the White Sox a new house or his money, that's the one thing covering that team. Nobody ever went to the ballpark. Correct. If they could make themselves a destination draw, that is a monster, just waiting to be woken up, and that's scary.
So many people in Chicago. There's so many White Sox fans who are desperate to return to that situation. It's not like here where the population is what it is. The population there is so much larger that you could awaken that fan base pretty quickly, I would think.
If you had a place to go and there were there was live music around afterwards and, bars and absolutely.
Now, Dan, in the Pioneer Press yesterday, Charlie Walters writes, first of all, the opening statement I want you to respond to. There's been misguided reporting elsewhere that a sale of the Minnesota Twins is expected to be done by opening day this season. Is that a rip on you, Dan?
I don't know. If it is, that's fine. I trust my reporting because it's I've got like 4 people at The Athletic that have helped me with this. It's great. This isn't just me. I have Team Athletic behind me, and man, we have fellow owners. We have people in the league office. We have people that talk to people. So I feel good about it because look, I'm not going to. I wrote that the Twins were surprised. The people in camp were surprised the other day when they found out about it. Yeah. That's accurate. You know
that
why?
for
Because
sure was the
all
vibe.
removed.
Yes.
Yeah, they are all removed. They are, 1 degree of separation away from this because they hired a New York capital market company to finance or to sell the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's about 2 or 3 people in the building that actually know what's going on, and it's a limited group. So I'm very feel great about my report.
All right, I'm just trying to stir up a media fight. I'm just trying to get some juice going.
Here's the thing. Charlie through in a major league game before, and I'm afraid of the brushback pitch.
Yeah, that's
so
fair. I get it. Last question for you. Do you think fans are going to care if this thing falls through and the poll ads are back, or do you think it's enough where I think it's been credibly established that they are legitimately trying to sell the team?
Yeah, I think it should be enough, but I mean, honestly, there's 40 years of people are ready to move on. That's going to be a tough one. But here's the thing. The team on the field can make sure all of this is moot for the time being just by going out and winning. And that's really what it comes down to.
Let's win, 4 out of 7, 4 out of 6 to get the season started, and you're maybe no one's talking about the ownership anymore.
Yeah, Royce Lewis homers on opening day, Carlos Correa.
Yeah, we're good. The sun's out, it's not snowing, everybody's happy. Dan Hayes, how is the weather down there, by the way?
We got rained out today, man. I know it's great still. I mean, come on, even when it's bad.
It's 50 here. It's 50 degrees.
I know. Actually, you guys are warmer. I think we were 48 when we woke up yesterday. But these 2 days have not been great. But it's still, look, it's like bad pizza. It's still good when it's bad.
No doubt. Dan, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Jason. Thanks.
Dan Hayes, The Athletic. Watch for more reporting as he learns more. But there you go. Let's break. More thoughts about Lester Holt stepping down. Who is the media member? Who's the anchor? Who's the sports person, the weather person? Who left that you were like, oh, it really hit you? It felt like a big deal. 651-461-9226.
Drive Time with DeRusha is back after this on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Although Barbra Streisand and Frank Sinatra never shared the stage, their musical legacies come together in Barbra and Frank, the concert that never was. Starring Sharon Owens and Sebastian Anzaldo. This can't-miss tribute features sensational performances of the powerhouse vocalist's biggest hits, captivating duets, and witty banter. See what could have been become reality at Treasure Island Resort and Casino on Friday, February 28th. Get your tickets at ticasino.com.
Many listeners have asked me what CBD products I use, and I am so happy to be able to share them with you on the radio. Jordana Green here. I really want to destigmatize CBD and reveal compelling health benefits that I've experienced. I use Mini-Leaf. Check out minilleaf.com, MINNELEAF.com. I use these products. I would not recommend them to you if I didn't. Mark has used them. We have both experienced the benefits from the Triple Diamond Pain Cream. Such relief. And also those Sleep Night gummies. The best night's sleep I have had in a while. No pharmaceuticals needed. Check out the true benefits of CBD. You can see they're 100% natural Mini-Leaf's products, and you can look at the studies on the website. Minilleaf.com. MINNELEAF. Tell them Jordana sent you.
Mini-Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minilleaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Roads have been cleared out of A 494 northbound Fish Lake Road with the activity cleared out. Still a bit tight though to come up from Rockford Road, but it continues to loosen. North 169 watching slowdowns there. Excelsior Boulevard heading up toward Medicine Lake Road. 694 jammed up both directions between Central and Highway 100 on the south side. 494 eastbound seeing some slowdowns right around Dodd Road. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
At Newgate School, we turn donated cars into success stories. For 49 years, we've helped underserved young adults in the Twin Cities learn automotive repair skills with zero tuition. Your vehicle donation can teach, fund, and also provide reliable transportation for single moms. Learn more at newgateschool.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Newgate School changes lives for over 45 years. They bring us the weather forecast. It's warm. Chance for rain to the south. Tonight, low of 34. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy. Rain showers by tomorrow night, high of 48. Wednesday will be 45. It's going to be above average. The average is 32. So we will be in the 40s all week. Right now, 49 on CCO.
Let's roll with more of Jason DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
TV news people, they're sort of part of our life. When they leave, it usually has an impact. Today, Lester Holt announced after 10 years he is leaving at least the nightly grind of the NBC Nightly News. He'll still be staying with NBC to do Dateline. We're sort of in an era of transition as Nora O'Donnell stepped down a couple months ago from the CBS Evening News. What news anchor for you, when they left, did you gather around? Make sure you saw their final show. 651-461-9226. Nationally, Peter Jennings affected me. I interned at ABC News. He was my anchor on 9/11. The big achievement of my internship in New York. And I interned half of my summer at World News Tonight in the investigative unit and the other half at Primetime Live with Diane Sawyer and Sam Donaldson. Peter Jennings knew my name. Whoa, that's pretty big. There were like 30 interns. He didn't know anybody's name. I mean, you can imagine what I was like as an intern. First in the office, last to leave. I used to work hard. It's the local news anchors, I think, that today really hit. Texter saying Don Shelby. When Shelby left, that was a big deal.
For me, locally, that would have been the guy. But, I mean, I'm biased just having the opportunity to work with him. But, yeah, absolutely. That was huge.
When Mark Rosen left, that really hit me because he was like the last of that era at Channel 4. So, I was anchoring the morning news, but I came there to be there for his final show in the studio. I was there for Shelby, too. Shelby leaving. It felt like a changing of a chapter.
Sure.
You know? Tom Brokaw says a texter. Pat Miles.
Brokaw would be my national choice.
Brokaw was big.
When I was a kid, that's who I thought of as, okay, that's the guy you go to when you want to know what's going on. So,
and he retired. I mean, Jennings left because he had lung cancer and then he died.
Yeah.
And so Brokaw stepping down. Dan Rather for me was never like, he never really clicked with me.
No.
So he wasn't, I'm with you there. He wasn't my guy. Alex Kendall. I was thinking about Alex too locally because Alex was on the morning news for 20 years. That's the kind of departure where it's like, she felt like family. She was there for everything.
I mean, it is interesting, you know, as you ask that question and you just look at the text line, the balance between local and national is not close.
No.
Many, many more local names than national names.
Dave
I think that goes back to that conversation you had with Kata just about how that connection is stronger with a local anchor than it is with a national.
I think like when I think locally today, who are the people who leave that really will like, I mean, obviously I work with Amelia.
Yeah, but Frank and Amelia would be.
Frank and Amelia
would be big.
Because they'll go together.
Yeah, you think.
Oh, that would be something.
It would be something.
That would be big. Like that would be, you know, because the reality is, a lot of texts are saying Walter Cronkite. That's pretty good. Randy Shaver. Yeah, when Randy Shaver left, I don't know, like he wasn't my news guy, but he was such a feature in people's homes for so long because of his sports years.
That and then the story, you know, with his health issues and stuff, you know, that's a big part.
Oh, such a survivor.
Yeah.
Incredible. Diana Pierce. Yeah. A lot of Dave Moore. Man, I wish I was around for the Dave Moore era. The number one insult I used to get at Channel 4 was whenever I did a story that people didn't like. Dave Moore would be rolling over at his. And you're like, yeah. Like Dave Moore was an actor. Like he was a funny guy.
Yep.
Like he would have been okay with some of my nonsense. Care 11 viewer says Randy Shaver. Yeah, I think, you know, it's hard to underestimate like Shaver, such longevity. When Majors left to go to LA, that was sort of rare, right? Where we don't have too many main anchors who go. You had Paul Douglas who went to Chicago and then bounced back. Major leaving was a big deal to me too. Yeah. It's, you know, some of this is money. These big names are making big dollars and the revenue is just not there anymore. So that's part of it for sure. DeRusha Hour news headlines coming up. The Lead. Lots of good stuff. Straight ahead. Stick around for hour 3.
You're at home. MerrittChev.com. You need a vehicle. MerrittChev.com. Wherever you are. MerrittChev.com. Shop in the comfort of your home on MerrittChev.com, where all their prices are clearly marked for their all new and used vehicles. It's like a virtual test drive. Merritt Chevrolet is the full service real deal with sales, service, body shop, and parts. Just off Century and I-94, or you guessed it, MerrittChev.com. Merritt Chevrolet, the dealership right in your backyard. Together, let's drive. See dealer for details.
Right now, you can get the outdoor furniture you love with 0% financing, but only until February 24th. That means you can start your patio plans today and pay over time with no interest. Order now. Your furniture will be ready when spring arrives. Plus, check out 2 stunning new wood grain colors and dozens of fresh designs so you can make your backyard truly one of a kind. Visit the showrooms in Jordan, Maple Grove, or Woodbury, or shop online at buytheyard.net. You better hurry. 0% financing ends February 24th. 0% financing subject to credit approval.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
The news you need from the station you trust. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts. I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump said today that he believes an end to the war in Ukraine is in sight.
I really believe that he wants to make a deal. Maybe wrong, but I believe he wants to make a deal.
But Russian President Putin said today he hasn't discussed Ukraine in detail with Trump. Trump was hosting French President Macron at the White House here through an interpreter.
This peace must not mean a surrender of Ukraine. It must not mean a ceasefire without guarantees.
Many other European leaders were in Ukraine today, marking 3 years since Russia's invasion and promising to continue supporting Ukraine. Trump is defending the email to federal workers that advised them to report their work progress over the past week or risk losing their jobs.
I think everyone thought it was a pretty ingenious idea. We have to find out where these people are. Who are they? And we said, if you don't respond, we assume you're not around.
The Office of Personnel Management, which sent the email, now says it's up to each agency to decide how to handle it. CBS's Finn Gomez.
The Trump administration is walking it back a little bit, saying that there was a call between OPM, the Office of Personnel Management, and department leaders saying essentially that it's up to the agency heads to decide how to implement this Musk rule, if you will, and that it also doesn't necessarily mean that anyone needs to resign afterwards.
Many agencies have already told their employees they don't need to comply. National Park Service workers who have been fired say they will be missed.
No one's going to be there to pick up the trash. I mean, you'd be amazed with how many just diapers I pick up off the side of the road, beer bottles, toilet paper, all the stuff that you don't have to see. You get to see the park in its true natural beauty.
And Alexander Tin says some FDA workers are being rehired.
Multiple officials tell CBS News that the Trump administration is now walking back at least some of the workers they fired, calling them back to the job and restoring their access to email and other FDA systems.
Many of them were responsible for reviewing medical devices. Her voice was unmistakable.
Drumming my bed with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song.
Roberta Flack has died. Her hits included Killing Me Softly with his song and The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. Anthony DeCurtis of Rolling Stone.
Roberta Flack helped define a certain sound in the 70s that has retained an adult audience. You know, it was a kind of very sophisticated soul music.
Clint Hill, the Secret Service agent who threw himself onto President John F. Kennedy's limo after the president was shot, has died at the age of 93. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830.
Mostly cloudy, 50 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. A Burnsville man is facing charges of domestic abuse by strangulation after a standoff with police on Sunday that lasted several hours. The home's not far from where 3 first responders were killed during a standoff a year ago. Burnsville Deputy Chief Matt Smith says it's emotional, but they are trained well for these kinds of situations.
For sure. You definitely rely on your training and you know, you have to be focused on each incident so that you can keep everybody safe and come to a positive resolution.
The children in the home were not harmed. Smith says the suspect is being held in the Dakota County Jail pending charges. The Minnesota House has just passed a bill that would put a temporary stop to any new light rail projects until the over-budget Southwest Light Rail line is complete. This includes the planned Blue Line extension into North Minneapolis. And Minnesota lawmakers talking today about the underused Northstar commuter rail and a proposal to shut it down. In a joint statement, the Met Council and MnDOT say they have started exploring transitioning the Northstar train service to bus service. A timeline and the projected savings of such a project are expected in the coming months. A bill at the Capitol today would require companies to turn off consumer access to nudification technology, which allows users to generate nude images of anyone using a simple photo and artificial intelligence. Larger platforms like ChatGPT or Meta already prohibit nudification, but it's still widely available on smaller websites. Megan Hurley spoke about her experience as a victim of this deepfake technology.
I've been humiliated. I have never taken nude pictures or exchanged nudes with anybody. But because of this easily accessible website, There are convincing graphic images and pornographic videos on the internet of me forever.
DFL Senator Aaron May Quade's bill would also allow any companies not complying with the new rule to be sued by the Attorney General. Today, we're kicking off a three-part series looking into the work that's underway to identify and remove what are called racial covenants from properties all across the metro and beyond. Here's WCCO's Mark Fry.
Since 2016, Mapping Prejudice at the University of Minnesota has mapped more than 42,000 racial covenants.
Clauses that are put in property records that historically restricted the ownership of property to being primarily only for white people in large areas of the country.
That's Mapping Prejudice technical lead Michael Corey. While racial covenants are no longer enforceable, they are still found in property deeds all across the Twin Cities.
Even though they were unenforceable, people still put them into documents to send a message.
Work continues across metro area communities to discharge racially restrictive covenants. Minneapolis and St. Paul are among the 29 cities involved with the Just Deeds Coalition, taking action to help homeowners in cities by providing free legal and title services. Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
After filing an appeal with the NHL, Minnesota Wild forward Ryan Hartman has had his 10-game suspension reduced to 8 games. He was suspended for roughing Ottawa's Tim Stutzel earlier this month. Hartman will be able to return to the team in time for the March 4th game at Seattle. WCCO News Time is 5:06.
Let's do.
So heading to St. Paul for East 94 Riverside, heading up toward Hamlin Avenue, North 169, some slowing at 55, and again by Rockford Road. And if you're going to be traveling Highway 10 westbound, got your delays in place, making it past Hanson Boulevard. 494 eastbound sluggish, West Bush Lake Road to Linden. Trey Peterson, New Talk 830 WCCO.
Washburn-McCreevy Funeral Chapels and Cremation Services has been providing compassionate and personalized service for over 160 years. Honor your loved one and ensure your own wishes are met. Call 612-377-2203 or visit washburnmccreevy.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by Washburn McCreevy Funeral, Cremation, and Pre-Planning Services. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It stays mild enough that we have more chances of rain than snow. Rain showers mainly across southern Minnesota tonight, falling back to 34. Mostly cloudy with rain showers more widespread, mainly in the evening tomorrow after a high of 48. There is a chance of light snow mainly in northern Minnesota on Wednesday. We could see some flurries late.
Mostly cloudy right now, 50 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
When you can't reach the radio, have her do it for you. Hey Alexa, play News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
You're watching the cool brainwashing 12-year-old and younger station that hides behind a slick image. We're so cool that we decide what's cool. And now, here's your host,
Jason DeRusha.
All right, it is hour 3 of Drive Time with DeRusha. We are back in the Twin Cities, and we are streaming live on YouTube on the WCCO radio channel. We're on Facebook. We are on my X account as well at DeRusha J. We're on the radio too, for goodness sakes. But we want to bring the show to you wherever you're at, so you can listen back to your favorite segments or watch it at your leisure. So check it out, like it, subscribe, and we appreciate all of that. As we do every day at 5 o'clock, we start with the DeRusha Hour news headline.
Now, time to get you caught up on some of the biggest stories of the day. These are the DeRusha Hour headlines.
Good evening. Our top story.
This just in.
Our top story.
We begin tonight with.
We begin tonight.
We begin with the lead.
And our first story in the lead is an attack on copper wire theft. Minnesota law enforcement officers looking for inspiration nearly 1,200 miles from here in Houston, Texas, where a very dedicated effort has led to success. We go to the John Schuster Coldwell Banker hotline, and Sergeant Bob Carson, who heads the Copper Thievery unit of the Houston Police. Bob, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
You identified this as a problem fairly early, right?
Yes, sir. We started noticing it right away as far as communication. one cut can cause so much damage and take out so many businesses. And these are needed businesses, especially at a time where people are working remote, people are going to school remote. So it affects everything, not just one industry. It doesn't just affect the telecommunication industry.
But
it affects everything.
You found people in Houston were scaling utility poles and cutting wires. Some were just trying to, avoid paying their electricity bill? Or were people trying to steal the copper to sell it?
More the avoiding the paying the bill was more of a long time ago. Recently, it was just climbing the poles, using a bucket truck, using a pole saw to cut the wire right from the poles and pull it. Whether they tied a chain to it and dragged it down the road and then cut it in manageable sections.
In the Twin Cities, St. Paul, for example, in 1 year, it's costing $1 million to repair damage caused by copper thieves who are stripping wire from streetlights. That's been a major issue. What did you do in Houston? Honestly, I was just blown away by the number of investigators and police officers you have working on this.
Yes, sir. It's a huge problem. So I have 6 detectives, and that's all we do is we work on metal theft.
Wow.
Whether it be loads that are being trucked or whether it be stolen from a new construction site, the copper pipes taken ripped right out of there, or whether it be the communication wire or electrical wire even. That's what we do.
What's been the most effective way for you to catch the criminals here?
The best thing we've done is, one, we've done a couple things. This has been a multi-phase type effort. And one, we brought all the stakeholders together. We brought in the scrapyards, we brought in the industries, whether it be telecommunication, electric, and then we brought in law enforcement and the district attorney's office. What are they seeing differently that we're seeing?
Huh. Because the scrapyards are maybe seeing it on the front lines, right? Where they're seeing the increase. Obviously, the value of copper has gone through the roof, but they are seeing sort of what are the scenarios when people are bringing stuff in.
Oh, yes, sir. They're just showing up by the truckloads.
Wow. What'd you learn from bringing everybody to the table that's led to results for you? So we can steal these ideas here.
I wish everybody would take them and they could probably improve on them because, one, it's getting people to talk about it.
Yeah.
When you get all these independent industries together, they're trade secrets. But in our group, we've all come together. Just the common goal was to stop the thievery. And one of the first things we did was we had them bring in their most stolen equipment. Let us see it. That way, we know if I walk through a scrapyard, I know that's stolen right away. Nobody else is using that.
Cool.
And if our patrolmen stop a car or a truck and some of that equipment's in the back, and these are not communication workers or electrical workers, they know it's stolen. So those were some of the basic steps we took right away.
You're getting results?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of my guys just walked through a scrapyard last week and found 2,500 pounds of stolen wire.
Wow. Crazy.
Just walking through. It wasn't a tip. It wasn't anything. Just walking through it.
Really appreciate your insight. It does show like when you really focus in and you have a unit that obviously like staffing is a challenge, right? When a police department dedicates a number of detectives to one issue, it shows the priority and no doubt law enforcement can get it done. It's just a matter of whether you dedicate the resources to it. Sergeant.
Absolutely. You have to have the support of your leadership without a doubt.
No doubt. Good stuff. Houston Police Department Sergeant Bob Carlson, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Have a great day, y'all.
All right. There you go. Interesting stuff. Bob Carson in Houston with the lead story number 1. All right. Next up is the kerfuffle around justifying your job. It is... It is the Elon Musk email that is reverberated throughout the federal government. It has so many of us talking about it, too. If you had to justify 5 things you did last week at your job, could you do it? like, I don't want to be an Elon Musk apologist, but this doesn't seem like the most egregious request in the history. Has anyone out there ever had a new boss who, like, I'm the new sheriff in town and you better prove what your job is? I don't know. Throughout the government today and yesterday, many different agencies have been telling their employees, don't do this. Now, this was sort of foreshadowed by a rather aggressive response on X by Senator Potty Mouths, U.S. Senator Tina Smith, who now that she's announced she's not running for re-election, has unleashed. Well, some of you were surprised by her language when she referred to Elon Musk as a Richard boss. Think of another, well, she called him Dick Nixon, a boss. And then she used another profanity, but we weren't that surprised after hearing what the senator said the last time she was on the morning show with Vanita.
Well, good morning, Vanita. It's so good to be with you this morning here from DC. And yes, I'm happy to talk about this that we've been voting on this week in the Senate. And this legislation is sort of a solution to what happened with her, but it is actually not a good solution at all.
Yeah. I mean, if you were paying attention, you knew that the senator had that sort of capability. You knew she was ready for it. All right, time for story 3 on the DeRusha Hour news headline, The Lead, and that is the death of the Northstar commuter rail. This was this thing was a flop from day one. At its peak, it had about 2,000 to 3,000 riders a day. Imagine an $11 million a year commuter rail line that had visions of going to St. Cloud, but we didn't get it done. And so we stopped at Big Lake. And if you live in Big Lake, driving to work seems like a more reasonable option if you're driving downtown. And now, post-COVID, the Big Lakers and the people on the Northstar Rail are largely working remotely. Today, this rail line is running with about a few hundred people a day. Representative John Kosnick has led an effort to try to get this hard rail line shut down. And he's having results as of today.
Even before COVID, the rider subsidy was extremely high. In 2023, Northstar Passenger had total fare revenues of under $324,000. That's from less than 400 average weekly riders. And that subsidy back then in 23 was about $116 a ride. Still, extremely high for all modes of travel.
Look, you're not easing traffic on the interstate if you're getting 400 cars off the road. Let's just be realistic. MnDOT released a report today that said switching to a bus between Minneapolis and St. Cloud would cost about $2 million. Right now, it's about $12 million to operate a train that nobody rides. I love transit. I am actually much more pro train and pro light rail than I think a lot of the people who are asking for massive change in our budgeting and in our commuting. But the reality is the world has changed away from a situation where people live in the outlying suburbs and kind of spoke in hub style come to the hub of the downtown Minneapolis and downtown St. Paul. It is time to completely start over. And so the effort that also is going on to stop spending money on light rail, which Laura just reported has passed, sort of a pause, makes nothing but sense. Building a new light rail line out to Brooklyn Park, extending the blue line makes zero sense. Let's finish the Southwest Light Rail line and let's reassess. That is the lead of the DeRusha Hour news headlines. Page 2 is coming your way in just a minute with a brilliant idea. If you're going to be on the Education Committee in the House or the Senate, you've got to do what? We'll tell you. Plus, Apple's pledge to build more products in the U.S., should you believe it, and progress in the area near Allianz Field. That as we continue on CCO.
We need a quick pit stop. Then Jason DeRusha continues on News Talk 830 WCCO.
So today we have Albert from UCare to help decomplicate Medicare plans for people who are just starting to learn about it. Tell me a little bit about Original Medicare and Medicare supplement plans.
Original Medicare is designed to cover about 80% of your overall medical expenditures. And then you have your Medicare supplement plans. They're designed to help cover the other 20% that Medicare leaves off. Most other costs are covered under your supplement plan. They do offer a nationwide coverage as well. They will be accepted anywhere that Original Medicare is accepted. Medicare supplement plans will provide a level of predictability instead of thinking about co-pays and constant costs. You pay your monthly premium one time a month and your medical costs are mostly covered.
So why should someone go with UCare?
So UCare does have competitive rates. Some of the lowest rates statewide that you can find, no cost fitness options and hearing aid discounts, and a large dedicated broker network that's willing to take all the time needed to help you find the right plan to secure your long-term health goals.
For more, contact a local broker and visit ucare.org.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Attention small business owners needing financing. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as one business day. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year or more with a monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's swishfunding.com.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit. Credit for deciding while stuck in traffic to get a bachelor's degree. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. Students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's. And graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. Flexible online and hybrid classes start March 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Jason DeRusha.
He is pompous. He is erudite. He is intelligent. He is condescending.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
DeRusha Hour News Headlines, page 2, and you guys are going to absolutely love this idea. If you're going to be on the Education Committee in the House or the Senate, you'd better get yourself into a classroom. This is the Forum News Service writing about a bipartisan bill. The story republished at twincities.com, the Pioneer Press website. So the bill would require a legislator to go into a K-12 classroom or administrator's office or whatever, 12 hours, observing every 2 years, and then write up a little book report and make that publicly accessible so people knew what schools you went to, what people, what grades. This is the idea of, we should get Andrew Myers on from Tonka Bay, Representative Andrew Myers. This is just such a smart idea. He said, making sure lawmakers spend time seeing the day-to-day lives of educators in the classroom will help them make better decisions in the Capitol. To be honest, I think anybody who's an elected official should, like, where should they go? You know what I mean? To be a little smarter, to be more informed. I would say classroom. I would say law enforcement, like go to the jail, go to a ride-along. I don't know where else we should make them go. But he also introduced bills requiring members of the Children and Families Finance and Policy Committee to go to child care facilities. This just makes so much sense. And whoever votes against this, like, I want to hear it because that is just embarrassing. It's a great idea. I'm on the board of Second Harvest Heartland. The most I have learned, I've read all sorts of reports, learned a ton about our operation, but the most I ever learned was going out to local food shelves and handing out food and unloading trucks and seeing what the friction points are and hearing what people are talking about, seeing the faces of people in need. That's how you learn. Yeah, you can read the reports, you can listen to lobbyists, but get your butt out to the people that are actually affected by the policies. Apple announcing a huge pledge to build more products in the United States. Oh, everybody is just get up to the ring of the Trumpster and give it a kiss. Associated Press reporting. I mean, this is a good thing. It's a $500 billion pledge over the next 4 years. Apple saying they're going to hire 20,000 people, build a new server factory in Texas. This comes days after President Trump said Apple's CEO, I believe the CEO of Apple is Tim Apple, right? Is that the CEO? Tim Apple promised of the tech giant's manufacturing would shift from Mexico to the U.S. What a shock, as the company was doing so to avoid paying tariffs. So the biggest thing is this new factory in Houston, which would produce servers to power that AI, Apple Intelligence. But Apple made a similar announcement in early 2018. Who was the president in early 2018? What would make Apple need to make it? Oh, it was Trump. What was Trump? Oh, tariffs. Huh. Interesting. So did they do it? No. Apple promised to build a campus in a new location as part of a $350 billion investment in 2018, has not done so. Foxconn, remember Foxconn, the chip manufacturer that did the groundbreaking in Wisconsin for a $10 billion high-tech campus that would employ 13,000 people. They built a couple buildings, no plan. Now, other companies have come through. Toyota, Nucor, which is a U.S. steel producer, have invested billions of dollars by building plants in Kentucky that now employ thousands of people. Let's hope Apple does it this time. Some progress in the area near Allianz Field in St. Paul. Bill McGuire, the owner of Minnesota United FC, has been working for you. You know, Allianz has been like post the riots after the murder of George Floyd, which hit that part of University Avenue. The area around Allianz Field is largely abandoned and disappointing. It's been slow. So McGuire said, well, there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's pretty slow to get stuff done in St. Paul. The city and the licensing and all of it is slow. Pioneer Press reported on this as well. United Village is what that area around the soccer stadiums could be. What, you know, you always have the announcement at the beginning. What it's really going to be is a hotel and a 4-story office building. McGuire says he's got a hotel partner and he has enough tenants to fill the commercial building. Will there be residential? He said, I'm not ruling it out, but rent control is scaring away developers. Now, the rent control in St. Paul does exempt new construction for 20 years, but a lot of changes basically have developers and largely finance people. Nobody wants to underwrite a deal. And finally, a cool idea from Nick Halter at Axios on where we could build a new Timberwolves arena. You know, most of the discussion about where you would get the jackhammers working would be over by the farmers market on the edge of downtown. And Nick is saying, look, since the building across the street from us here in downtown Minneapolis just sold for $6 million, you know, nothing. The value of some of these downtown buildings is close to zip. So why not take City Center, which has an office tower that used to all be occupied by Target employees? Now there's nobody in that tower. Why don't you buy City Center? What's City Center worth right now? $10 million? Buy it, knock it down, build an arena right where City Center is. You could have an entrance on Nicollet Mall. You could activate Nicollet Mall. You could then knock down Target Center and build, like, you know, all these owners, they're like, oh, I'll build the stadium if you'd let me build my little, you know, team-themed playground up the street. So you could have like a whole village of stuff where Target Center is connected by Skyway with Mayo Clinic Square in the middle. Boom. You got your whole Timberwolves village, bigger space, worth talking about. How about that? A reporter with a good idea. It may be a first. We'll ask Dave Schwartz what he thinks about the city center location for a Timberwolves, plus developments on the ownership of the Twins. We'll talk Wild. We'll talk about the concert that I'm going to see tonight as well. Dave Schwartz in minutes here on CCO.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO. Before the flowers bloom, ahead of the birds returning, what's our first real sign of spring? Twins baseball on the radio.
Griffin Jacks is strike three on a bender, and I locked him up.
His new toy, now able to drop a curveball like that.
Spring training isn't just practice, it's where the roster takes shape.
Sharply to the left side, RBI single Austin Martin, and the Twins lead 2-0.
Championship seasons start in Fort Myers on News Talk 830 WCCO.
It's like being trapped in a cage. And I know that sounds dramatic, but your breathing triangle problem has got you trapped. And once you're freed, you're going to be able to live the life that you're missing out on. Now, this can simply mean experiencing the true pleasure of breathing freely. It will mean better sleep and more energy. And the worry of this problem any more affecting your life is going to be gone. Because in almost every case, when Advent has solved a breathing triangle problem, it's a one and done. Because we're not in the business of delivering Band-Aids. We want to fix your nasal breathing problem for good. We don't want you to be a lifelong patient. We want you to be our next success story.
Isn't it time you break free from that cage? Take the next step. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-918-3538. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-918-3538. 800-918-3538. That's 800-918-3538.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
You can find things running rather decently for the most part across the system. Update brought to you by Whole Foods Market, shop in store online. If you get each other in West 94, you got a little bit of a slowdown. Hemlock Lane to Weaver Lake Road. 610 flowing nicely both directions between 252 and I-94 East 36, cruising along. No issues there as you come in from 35W or 35E. Save on quality mains at Whole Foods Market. Get 20% off. No antibiotics ever. Bone-in beef short ribs with prime through February 25th. Braised until tender in a Dutch oven. Serve over steamed right while supplies last. Shop in store online. Terms apply. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Clogged gutters? Call the pros. Advantage Home Pros. With the highest quality workmanship and materials. Seamless gutter installation, cleaning, and covers. Our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros. AdvantageHomePros.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather is brought to you by Advantage Home Pros. Experience the advantage at AdvantageHomePros.com. Here is Chris Schaefer.
Definitely feeling more like March than the last week of February. Rain showers south tonight, falling back to 34. Basically a mostly cloudy day tomorrow with a high of 48 with another round of rain coming. This hits in the evening, even here in the Twin Cities. Some light snow mainly up north on Wednesday.
It is warm outside for sure. 47 degrees and cloudy in Chaska here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO. He'll say what he thinks.
I hesitate to write them off after 4 games, but
Even when he isn't always right.
I'll once again admit that I was wrong. Shows you how much I know.
But that's what we love about him.
And I'm a Jersey snob.
The always entertaining and authentic Dave Schwartz now joins Jason for his weekly appearance on Drive Time with DeRusha.
Dave Schwartz with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline and streaming live on YouTube and Facebook and X. What do you think about it? Look at you.
Look at this.
It's like you're back on TV again. Do you feel like you need to get like
I had
fancy tie or something?
Like some makeup. I could use a little bit of powder under my cheeks here. I'm a little red. This light's washing me out a little, but I'll be ready for next week for prime time.
It's kind of fun. It's been, I don't know. Dan, do you like this video nonsense, or you're coming to terms with it, or where are you on this?
Sure.
Yeah, that really
Yeah.
not a yes no question
I
at all.
got into radio because I wanted to be on camera. So for sure, I love it.
What's changed is like I'm dressing the same as I always do, and I had like a sweatshirt on one day. Usually, I'm gonna have multiple layers. Like I have a couple layers on. Cook today like has this nice button-up shirt. He looks all professional.
Why is a dress shirt on? I was like, I had no idea that he dressed up for the show.
He doesn't. It's a total fraud for this video thing.
Well,
and
I'm wearing pants for the first time. Wearing it. No, I'm just kidding.
Proud of you.
Just
No,
for you.
he's just kidding. I'm not. He's not wearing pants, so don't worry about it. All right, let's. I don't know. Where do you want to start? So many
Well,
times.
I heard you talking.
Yeah.
I heard you
Let's start.
talking about Lester Holt stepping down, and everybody talking about their favorite anchors.
Who was your?
Did any of them?
Your big
Did
moment.
any say you or me? Or did anyone?
No, literally
Did
no
we
one.
come up with? Okay.
The whole
Great.
segment was just a troll to try to get people to say how much they missed me on the morning
For
news.
you. Yeah, that's what I
The
thought.
zip.
I was like, you're just
Nothing.
pulling it out here. Not one.
A couple
Because we haven't
people
left. That's why.
Yeah, a couple people on Twitter did say that they didn't mean it. It was clear they didn't mean it. But that's all right. Somebody on Facebook, I reposted this today. This person, this was quite impressive. The haters are very creative. You were better on TV when you were kept in check. Now you're just an annoying douche with a forehead as big as your ego. Wow.
I mean, show me the lie, right? I guess
know,
we
yeah,
all.
it's
We all
I mean, I couldn't argue. You're like, well, I mean, that was rude, but also accurate.
I liked your retort was, I do kind of have a big forehead.
Yeah, I put the text right over my giant head. Now, Sam and I are going to a concert tonight, and I will reveal
You go to
where.
JT?
What? Okay, yes. Yes.
Nice.
So Sam has never. Okay. Sam has never been to a concert before, which I didn't even realize. It's just the thought didn't
Never.
cross my mind. Is it weird in the year 2025 for a 17-year-old boy to be like, my first concert was Justin Timberlake with my 50-year-old father?
Well, no. One, because I have a similar. My first concert ever was the Beach Boys with my parents, who I think were probably 40 or 50 at the time.
Yeah.
So it's not
No.
that weird. I think it's more weird that he's never been to, not weird, but I think it's odd that he's never been to a concert.
Yeah, it is
I
a
mean,
little weird, right?
I mean, I don't want to tell you how to raise your kids. You've done a fine job. I brought my daughter to her first concert last year to go see Olivia Rodrigo, and that was her first concert ever. And I think my first concert since I had seen Janet Jackson when I was 14.
Right. How was Olivia Rodrigo? I kind of like her. She
You
can,
know what?
She can sing.
She put on a great show.
Yeah.
She really, really did. And I'll be biased, but the Exxon Energy Center is a great place to watch a concert, and Olivia Rodrigo did a phenomenal job. She used the whole venue. She's on a flying moon all over the place and waving and engaging the crowd. We had a great time. I didn't know any of her songs, but we had a great
Oh,
time
really?
anyway.
She's a phenomenal singer. I just hope
My
that
daughter knew all of them.
I hope that Justin Timberlake, like, what are the odds that Sam, a pretty good-looking high school senior, is going to get his butt grabbed by some 35-year-old like Justin Timberlake fan?
Probably better odds than you.
Oh, for sure. No one's grabbing anything but this. That's for sure.
I overheard a conversation at work today. One of our younger employees, and they were talking about, "Are you going to Justin Timberlake tonight?" And she said, "Yes, but I don't know any of his songs." And I went, "Oh,
yeah, right." I
I'm
just
so
hope
old.
JT isn't driving. I hope he's not driving. Oh, yeesh. What? Too
that's
soon? Too soon?
That's low.
Can't I make a topical joke anymore? I took grief when I made a joke about my flight landing right side up on Saturday night. I thought that was a good joke.
I like it. I'm in.
People are too
It
delicate.
shows how desensitized we are to news. Most people, they see these stories and it's they're shock and awe, but we've seen so much over the course of our career that it's just like nothing. I don't know about you. I'm completely desensitized to all news stories.
I try to be.
Nothing shocks me anymore.
If people died, I wouldn't have made the joke, but
at least wait a few more months.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Dave Schwartz is with us, co-host of The Huddle, Sundays on CCO Radio. I was at the Wolves game last night. I actually thought the Timberwolves, considering it was like Scrubs City, it was, I don't know, I think they have 4 guys out with injuries.
Yep.
I thought they played the Thunder really well. Like the young kids did pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good too. I mean, they're legit. The Thunder are a legit team with a lot of really young talent. I mean, Anthony Edwards gets his 29, but he can't, he probably needed 40 or 50 to try to contend. And now they're on a flight and they play again tonight in Oklahoma City.
Now, how stupid is this that they
nice scheduling?
I think I didn't get home last night until 12:30. It was a late game. It was an 8:30 start. And then now they have to go play at 7 tonight. It's just silly. Silly.
I mean, you figured the game ended probably around 10:30 last night.
Yeah.
They're probably in the air close to midnight. Got a little bit of sleep on the way. These guys travel comfortably and then to their hotel room to sleep a little more. But I can't imagine that it was a really great restful sleep on the plane. Right. So yeah, they're going to be, but both teams are going to have to deal with that to some degree.
That's fair. Dave, before the break, I talked a little bit about the Axios idea of knocking down City Center and using that for, because we are going to have a discussion about a new arena for the Timberwolves when and if the sale fully goes through to A-Rod and Mark Laurie. What do you think about that idea? This idea from Axios was the first time I heard of it, but it makes a lot of sense to me.
So just refresh me, where City Center is where exactly?
So it's right on Nicollet Mall. It's Nicollet Mall.
Okay.
So think in that building is like FEMA's is in there. There's like a Marriott hotel. It's that big, brutalist, ugly skyscraper that was built in the 80s for it was the Multi-Foods tower, I think. But of late, it's been a bunch of Target employees. But it's right on Nicollet Mall. It's connected by Skyway to the Dayton's building.
Mm-hmm.
So a great location on the mall. To me, what's interesting is all of the ideas always are like going to the fringe of downtown to get more development out. But we really could use more people like in the heart of downtown. And if you could use that, what's it cost to buy City Center these days? $10 and a candy bar or something?
It can't be that expensive. Can't be that expensive. I like you. I love major sporting events downtown because it's just a cool vibe. It makes it walkable for people who, hey, you're done at 5. You want to jump over to the new Target Center, whatever it'll be called. Great. You can go to a game. That's one of the things that I love about Chicago is, on any given night in the Blackhawks game, you just see this mass of guys walking from their offices, throwing on their jerseys over their dress coats and going to a game. But from a ownership standpoint, I would not do that simply because you make money these days being able to develop around your stadium. And so if it were me, I would not.
We would give them the old Target Center, which they could knock down and then develop that whole block. And then you then you could connect that to Mayo Clinic and then connect that to City Center.
And then it makes a whole party area like a lot of these cities have built
like
up. Like
Milwaukee, what do they call it? Like the Deer District,
something like that. St. Louis has it, the ballpark area down there. I mean, it makes it more all encompassing of an experience. And that's what owners want, right? They want want you to come down for the game, but they also want you to spend money at the restaurants and also stay at the hotel would be great too.
We'll break. We'll come back. I want to talk about Sam Darnold. What's going to happen with him this week? Will the Vikings keep him? Should they keep him? And if we have time, a little bit on the girls hockey championships, which were outstanding games. Dave Schwartz streaming live on YouTube and with us live here on DriveTime.
DriveTime with DeRusha is hitting the off-ramp for a quick stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
J.H. and Sons at the Galleria is going to be your new home for premium menswear. It's Jason here for my friends at J.H. and Sons. And I got a couple of things coming up in the next 2 months. You know, some charity events. And I want to look good. But I'm not going to go shopping online for like a cool suit or a sports jacket I want to try it on. And I need somebody to help guide me to something that will look good on me. J.H. and Sons has the best people in menswear in the Twin Cities. These guys have been working at the highest end stores, doing suits when everybody was buying suits. And now they're there to take care of you at the Galleria. The Halberstadt family started Halberstadt's in St. Cloud about 50 years ago. Now they're in Sioux Falls, beautiful stores, and you are going to love the store at the Galleria. Go stop in and just look at the clothing, talk with Kevin and Bryce and Dean and say hi. Tell them you heard it on CCO and just experience what the difference is when somebody can take care of you and get you the best. You deserve it. You want to look your best. Go visit J.H. and Sons. And to know first about special deals and events, go to the email list. Sign up at jhandsons.com.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
Financial advice should be holistic and tailored to your life. I'm Ryan Antkowiak, financial advisor with Baird Private Wealth Management and the president of the Financial Planning Association of Minnesota. At Baird, we provide investment and financial planning advice for all areas of your life: family, retirement, estate planning, and charitable giving. Plus, we coordinate with your tax and legal advisors to ensure you have one comprehensive financial plan that makes sense for you. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
Many listeners have asked me what CBD products I use, and I am so happy to be able to share them with you on the radio. Jordana Green here. I really want to destigmatize CBD and reveal compelling health benefits that I've experienced. I use Mini-Leaf. Check out Minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com. I use these products. I would not recommend them to you if I didn't. Mark has used them. We have both experienced the benefits from the Triple Diamond Pain Cream. It's such relief. And also those Sleep Night gummies, the best night's sleep I have had in a while. No pharmaceuticals needed. Check out the true benefits of CBD. You can see they're 100% natural Mini-Leaf's products, and you can look at the studies on the website. Minileaf.com. MINNELEAF. Tell them Jordana sent you.
Mini-Leaf means quality. Taste happy at Minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text LINE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text LINE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text LINE to 200-300. That's LINE to 200-300. LINE to 200-300.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
going to find the roads to be in pretty decent shape. 694 eastbound. Got some slowdowns there, though, as you make way between Highway 100 and 65. If you're traveling north 35, a little bit of congestion right around Randolph. Crosstown eastbound, some slowing as you make your way between 100 and Cedar Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
In its centennial year, the DAV of Minnesota remains dedicated to helping thousands of veterans access the benefits they've earned. And you can make a difference. Volunteer to transport veterans, advocate for improved programs, or donate today at davmn.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather is brought to you by DAV of Minnesota, and it is raining in the Southwest Metro. It's coming to you. Gaylord, Hutchinson, Redwood Falls, Litchfield, Marshall, rain in that part of the Twin Cities. Dry to the north. That'll be the trend for the rest of the night. Low of 34. It's going to be warm. Tomorrow, 48. Rain showers by evening, and all week we'll be in the 40s. Right now in Brooklyn Park, it's 46 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Even now, when you hear him,
He's fine now.
he's grown on me as far as being an announcer.
He's getting better because when he first started, I was like,
ooh, it's rough.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
I can't wait till I get you on the floor, good looking.
Oh, yeah.
Going out so hot, just like
Just practice my moves for tonight. It's going to be like the white boy, the white dad chair dance kind of deal.
I never know to dance. Do you dance at concerts or do you just sit there and listen? It's been so long.
Well,
Minnesotans
Minnesotans like to sit there and listen very respectfully. And I think it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like, you should be dancing at a concert.
Like, everybody sit down in front. I paid good money to see this.
No. We're on the floor. We have floor seats.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is free. It's from the company. Like, the boss texted me last week. He's like, do you want to go to Justin Timberlake?
Huh.
And Alyssa's going out with some friends for dinner tonight.
Yeah.
So I could have sent Sam and his girlfriend, but like, no. I'm like, we're going.
No, you did the right thing.
I think it's going to be.
Unless you want to take me with you, because I would have gone.
I think it's going to be a weird night. Like, I don't know why I think it's going to be strange, but it seems like it's going to. Like, how many men are going to be at this thing?
Probably many with their wives who loved Justin Timberlake when he was popular at the beginning.
We went last year to see Bublé. And that was, again, it was mostly guys with their gal and then a lot of girls' night. And Bublé is great. It was really fun.
He's got a great voice. Both JT and Bublé are two of my favorite SNL hosts, too, by the way.
Oh, yes.
They're both outstanding.
Yeah. Very, very good. Okay. Sam Darnold, what are we going to do? What do you think the Vikings will do? Will they put the franchise tag on him?
The closer I get to it, okay. So I have two thoughts here. I don't think that they should, and I've said this the whole time. It's too much money for a guy who, when they needed the win, when they needed the play to rise, it didn't. And so, I truly think that going ahead next year, this is going to be J.J. McCarthy's team. Yeah. Now, all that being said, there's probably some other quarterbacks that are going to be on the market that might drop his price a little bit. The salary cap is actually going to end up being quite a bit more than what they originally thought. I think by about $20 million more. So I could see a scenario, and I think Pete brought this up either last week or the week before, where he could get signed by the Vikings, and then they use that and they trade him to get something for him that might be worthwhile as opposed to losing him for nothing. But I just, if I'm Sam Darnold, the time is now. Your stock has never been higher. You're going to want to go somewhere where you can start and make that money, and I think he knows it's not here.
Yeah, and when you look at available quarterback, there always are teams that want quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And for Sam Darnold, 28 years old, he won. What did he win? 14?
He won. Well, they won 14. Yeah. So he won 14 games last year, which I don't know if his entire career he had 14 wins.
Right. Was that an unusual scenario, or is this like maybe he's clicked and figured something out? I don't know.
Clearly he and Kevin O'Connell worked well together.
Yes.
He has the best wide receiver in the game and a great running game as well. So there's enough there that if you're a team that needs a quarterback, you're going to take a run.
You're going to take a run at it. Yes.
We've seen enough here, even though he didn't win them those last 2 games. There's enough thought, enough question that maybe it wasn't all his fault. That's debatable. But I think if I'm Sam Darnold, the smart play is to go somewhere where I know I'm going to be a starter and have a chance to win. I just don't think he's going to get a really long leash here in Minnesota, even if he does sign.
As you said, there is some quarterback action. You got Darnold, you got Justin Fields, you've got Aaron Rodgers. Maybe somebody takes a go. You got Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston.
Probably going to have Kirk Cousins if he doesn't retire.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's plenty out there, but I would say of all those names, most of them I'd rather have Sam Darnold over.
How about that? Who would have guessed that, right?
Yeah. I mean, after the year he had, and you look at all of the years that these guys have put together, Russell Wilson is on the downtrend. I've argued that I would not be surprised if Aaron Rodgers doesn't even get signed by anybody. Pete disagrees with me, and I'll probably be wrong, but I don't know anybody wants to put their hands on that mess.
Who do you cheer for when you have Hill Murray and Edina in the? I mean, no rip on the individual athletes, right? Yeah. Wonderful, incredible athletes, and both of the championship games for girls hockey were awesome. Overtime,
they were great.
Come on,
you love to see a team like that. I mean, Dodge County War Road, it's a great matchup of 2 small towns, but War Road had won, I think. We're going for 4. They were going their 4th in a row. To see a town like Dodge County doesn't usually get that chance. It's always exciting. It's what makes the tournament great, right? These small towns clear out and they pack in the Xcel Energy Center, and it's always a great time.
And then Hill Murray ends up 5-4 with the win. So pretty.
I guess I'd say I'm glad that Hill Murray won, even though I mean, it's kind of one over the other, right?
Cheering for the private school. I see what kind of guy you
over
are.
The school. That's you know me.
When we toured when we toured Duke with Sam, the tour guide told us he was one of the rare kids at Duke who was a public school kid, and he was from Minnesota. And I'm like, oh, where'd you go to school? And he said Edina, and I just laughed out loud. I'm like, you don't get to play the hard scrabble public school kid act when you went to Edina. Come on.
Just pulled up his bootstraps from Edina, his UGG bootstraps, and made his way up.
Proud of him. Yeah. Proud of him. Yeah, it's an inspiring story. It's an inspiring story. Spring break. Are you guys doing anything? That's coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna know. My son is going on a band trip to Toronto.
Oh.
So they're
the
taking a band trip.
51st state. They're going to sing "America the Beautiful" in Canada. Is that what they're gonna do?
I know. Well, this trip was booked prior to this year, so we'll see if it happens.
What's the reception gonna? They're gonna sing 50 Nifty United States, and just add in Canada.
Would they boo? They wouldn't boo a high school band, would they?
Oh, I think they would. I mean, who would have guessed that here we would be sitting where we are pro-Putin and anti-Putin? That's where we are right now as a country. It's true.
That says a lot.
You can use that. Statement. You can use that if you want with your kid. Just give him some of this material for the trip. This is solid gold when you go to Canada.
And he'll never get back into the country. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dave. I'll be thinking of you at the concert tonight.
You're at home. MerrittChev.com. You need a vehicle. MerrittChev.com. Wherever you are. MerrittChev.com. Shop in the comfort of your home on Merritt.